All right,
on
hang
Facebook,
on.
yes.
We got it on YouTube. Hopefully, I don't know. It may be a new. 1 second, guys. Hang on. You're good, buddy. Live.
So Christine says, I see you both. This is all Facebook.
All right, so we're live on
everyone.
We're live on YouTube. Let me put this in the chat here. We're just gonna have to go at this. I think it'll work its way out. We're not gonna hold this up. All right, guys, we've got a good crowd in here already, so thanks for joining. I thought we would kick this off with a little introduction about ourselves. Chris, why don't you go? Well, most probably people who are here probably know who. So I'm just laughing at the comment. It's as glitchy as a 4B. Know who we are, but Chris, why don't you kick it off and we'll give a 2-second blurb about ourselves, and then we'll kind of dive in.
2 seconds. I'm Chris Hall. Started the Jeep 4xe Fans YouTube channel and the related, well, actually, Jeep 4xe Fans Facebook, YouTube's Wrangler 4xe Fans. I never changed the name over there, but they're both just 4xe centric places. One's a group on Facebook and one's on YouTube, and that's about me. I'm just a nerd who likes Jeeps and electrification, and when those two worlds came together, I thought I'm on board.
So like you, I had a Jeep club online long before 4BEs came out, but Chris and I a little bit we've communicated outside of Facebook. I think we're very much wired, no pun intended, the same way. He's just sitting over there trying to figure out his home automation for his lights, and I do kind of the same stuff. So we're kind of both dive into geek stuff, and both Jeep fans. I've got a 24 and also a 1947 CJ2A, which has not had any recall since I've owned it.
Yes. And if it did, the Army would be in denial anyway.
Correct. Now, to be fair, that thing, I know when it's not leaking fluid, it's empty. So, there's that.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, sorry, I was just trying to, there's a glitch in here, and I was just trying to get people moved over from this YouTube channel, but it is what it is. I think we still got people watching on YouTube here, right? So, so I thought we would kick off. We're going to keep this real, positive, but we'll certainly share frustrations. So if you guys got questions, Chris, I don't know if you can see the questions at all.
I'm seeing okay, where do you think we ought to? I see some stuff on YouTube.
Yeah,
I see stuff on Jeeps on the Run.
I see through the back end here. So someone's asking, Chris, are we going to have a drum solo tonight?
Not tonight.
I'm in. Let's go. All right, so let's start. Let's kick it off. Let's talk about the over-the-air updates. The issue that we had a few weeks ago that kind of was the season opener for the recall season.
You couldn't start with positive, like, hey, how about those defrosting mirrors? I don't know.
Well, hey, how about, all right, no, let's back up. Let's start positive. Let's talk about the Jeep Recon. So on my Jeeps on the Run channel, I actually have a video that just got revealed as of 6 o'clock Central Time. But the Jeep Recon, and two things, and Jeep just announced at 5 o'clock Central Time that they are going to adopt the NACS, agreement with Tesla. So that's awesome to see. But this Jeep Recon, guys, if you haven't had the chance to check it out, which most of you probably haven't yet because it's only been out for a half hour or whatever it's been, it's awesome. I want one. It is full electric. It is on the same platform of the Stella Large platform, which is the same as the Wagoneer S and the sorry, I'm having
Dodge Charger.
That's in the Dodge Charger.
Yeah.
Which is good and bad. I've been on some embargoed calls and stuff, and I will say the one thing and it's hard to kind of say this and believe it, but the one thing I will say is they keep saying that Filosa wants quality before they even talk about like dates, before they talk about anything, So I asked if there was a concern with fire risk and battery failures on the Recon, and there isn't a concern. And to be fair, they said it's not a Samsung. They said it's a different vendor than Samsung, and they said that it would be they're not concerned about the battery issues. And to be fair, we haven't seen these kinds of failures in the Wagoneer S. I think all the failures we've seen in the Wagoneer S, in my personal opinion, truly are software issues. I don't think these are the Wagoneer S. I think the Wagoneer S and the Charger needed they need software help, right? That's my opinion. In this range extending platform, I'm curious, Chris, what your thought is on it. I love the idea. I think it's really cool to have a full EV that basically has its own generator. So you drive the thing like a full electric vehicle 90% of the time. But in that event, you want to go snowmobiling up north or tow your boat up north, you just drive it like a truck. So I think that's awesome. But I think all of us are probably on the same page is what kind of software issues are we going to have, right? So, and that was the one call I was on that they said they're not even giving a date yet because they want to make sure it's perfect. And I hope they do that. I hope they do that. So,
and the downside to those, to like a series hybrid, you still have to have a pretty decent sized power plant under the hood. Wherever you put that engine, it's still got to be a decent, because you still have to produce the same newtons, I guess, and same horsepower as if that engine were driving the vehicle down the road. So where do you tuck that away? Where do you put that?
So I'm curious, you guys can comment on what your thoughts are on the, on that Recon. And again, I think it's pretty awesome. I love the look of it. I will say the one thing I'll say, and I'm going to nitpick it for a second, is I think the fit and finish, and I haven't seen it in person. So I'm traveling to the LA Auto Show on Thursday, and I'm going to see it in person, and I'm super excited. But from the pictures and the videos and everything I put together, the one thing I'll say is like when that back flip glass is out, it looks unfinished. Now, I don't know how you fix that because it's got to have all the rubber seals and everything. I get all that.
Yeah.
But it just looks unfinished. But maybe I don't know. I guess I will take that over the fact that it doesn't, of the other option being it doesn't come off, right?
And so many of those test vehicles, they're not what we end up with. I mean,
correct.
They're
and
close.
This is a pre-production, to your point. Yes.
Yeah. So,
all right, we'll go through a few questions while we're here. Chris,
and what you said about the.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Well, what you said about the battery manufacturer, and somebody even put that in there, like who's the manufacturer? Have you tried to search to see who's the manufacturer of the Wagoneer S battery? Because I can't find it. It's like that's like a guarded secret or something.
You know what? I don't know who it is, and you and I had this conversation before we logged in that I am interviewing William Coughlin from Jeep on Thursday, so I'll ask him.
I wonder.
I don't know, right?
I wonder if it's some sort of Stellantis partnership or something, but I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm taking notes.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Can you see us on Facebook? I think you can. Let's see here. I have been informed so many. I'm assuming you mean form fuel oil for refresh mode. I think we've kind of talked about that to nauseum. I don't know if you want to. Chris, what you want to briefly just poke it form for anyone that may be new here? I'll let you be the form expert.
It's funny. I know what I know about form, not from personal experience, because I have worked to avoid it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've never been in it.
I've done it a couple times, and I think it was legitimate. But people that get stuck in it, fuel oil refresh mode. There's an F, there's an O, and those are important letters to understand. There's fuel refresh mode and oil refresh mode. Unfortunately, Jeep only gave us one thing for both. So the fuel part is there's a 90-day timer on the gas tank. And if you don't fill up in that 90 days, if you're doing a lot of electric mode, you're going to get the fuel part of form. The oil part is due to the oil or the direct injection engine. If you have a lot of short engine runs, doesn't get up to temperature, you're going, and especially in cold weather exacerbates that issue, but it doesn't necessarily cause it.
Yep.
You'll get oil dilution, which is just excess gas not getting burned up, getting pushed into the oil. And
I'm going to pause you for a second there, because I think that's where this new Hurricane motor, if they pair that with the 4xe, would be game changing for this situation.
The Hurricane motor would have been the right choice, I think. The direct injection, if you don't manage it well, I don't think the direct injection engine was the right choice. But if you manage it, and the average person, you want to get in, push the button, and drive. You don't want to manage the system. And so,
right, you and I geek out over this stuff. All these people on this side don't, right?
Yes. And so, if what I've said for years, and it has played out true in mine. Now, I'm in Southwest Ohio. I'm not in Michigan, Chicago. It doesn't get quite as cold down here as it does up north. But I made the mistake of saying on my YouTube channel one time that all these Canadians are going to run around in form all winter, and a bunch of them are like, "No, that's not the case at all." And what they were doing was running in electric mode most of the time. And if they run the gas engine, they run it for a while. And that's the methodology I've always taken, that I don't allow for short engine runs. I don't use hybrid mode if I'm charged. And that won't, because I counted one morning, I think I could have up to 12 short engine runs just in my 8-mile drive to work because of stop signs and stoplights. And if it ran every time I stopped at a stop sign, and I'm not that heavy footed, but it's hard to not start that engine when you're in hybrid mode. And most people aren't going to pay attention to it. You've got the radio on, you don't really hear the engine running. And
it is pretty seamless.
Yeah, it's very seamless. Yeah. I mean, it's a great design. But if you can make your use very binary, like run it in electric mode, but then if you run that gas engine, run it. And maybe on the weekend you go out and do a drive and keep the gas engine running without it coming on and off. I have the oldest 4xe of anybody, and I have not had an issue with form and getting stuck in it. So,
and the one last comment I'll make is, if let's say you're getting let's say you get 22 miles of range on your battery and your commute's 20, and at the end of the day you're only doing 2 miles to your point, yes, you're only doing 2 miles of range. Well, drive half that home in battery, and it all balances out. Everyone wants to use the battery first, but that's one thing. So one comment here from Wade, and we'll talk about this recall in a minute, but I've had form so many times there's definitely no sand in my engine. Let's hope so.
Yeah, let's hope the excess fuel in the oil somehow encapsulates the sand and washes it out the next oil change or something. I don't know.
So this one came in. I'm assuming this is talking about batteries on, and you can chime in if I'm wrong. Batteries on maybe on the Recon. I mean, yeah, the weight of the battery is certainly a big player in the weight of the entire vehicle for sure.
And I think that question came in when you were talking about the range extended one.
So, yeah, you're probably right.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, it's got to be a heavy vehicle. Not only do you have a battery in it, you've also got a 3.6 liter motor under the hood. So I imagine there's certainly a weight factor to it. I personally think that's a great idea. I think it's going to be something that's game changing. Like for me, like an full electric truck wouldn't make sense for me for what my use would be if I wanted to tow a long distance. But the reality is I don't tow a long distance, but a few times. So this range extender could be an EV, all those other times without having an issue. But what does form look like on this thing, right? It could be that's a whole thing we have to learn there for sure. you know.
And would you lose the frunk? I mean, I'm assuming there's a frunk on the Recon.
There is a frunk on the Recon.
Yeah,
Yep, it's very similar
would,
to what you see in the Charger. Yep,
I assume you'd lose the frunk if you had the range extended.
100%, because that motor is right where you'd expect it to be. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Wagoneer S is definitely my next car. Listen, I've had a lot of experience with the Wagoneer S, and it's a great car. There's no question about it. The ones that we've seen, I think for the most part, they've gotten through some of the software hurdles, but time will tell. Eric, we just talked about this one. We don't know. It's like the best kept secret right now.
I dove down into that one night for a good 15, 20 minutes. You cannot find who makes that battery.
So here's a valid point from George, right?
Yep.
Somehow diesel electric. I mean, that's spot on, right?
Yeah.
I mean, think of cruise ships. Think of diesel electric locomotives. Same idea. So to your point, this is not new tech.
Yeah. And in the Recon, what's the horsepower on the motor? Do you know?
650
on the electric motor.
Well, that's what the two are combined. There's two.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. I think it's 650 horsepower. I have it in my notes here, but here 650 horsepower, 620 foot-pound of torque, a 250-mile range. This is all the Recon. 250-mile range in 3.6 seconds, 0 to 60.
Whoa, that's a nice Jeep. That's
because that would comments are always nice. Thank you for the compliment.
That would be the issue. Some people have wondered, like, could you just convert the 4xe into all electric? Well, it's only got 134 horsepower in that little electric motor, and
right, no,
its duty cycle is not tremendous, so it just wouldn't work.
Recon drains power away like it does on the Wrangler when crawling. What you do when you run out of electric on the trail? Don't plan accordingly. I guess it's no different than if you busted a drive shaft on a trail, right? Your trail buddies are pulling you out, or you fire up a generator, I suppose. But low range on the Recon, I imagine it's gonna. I guess that's a good question. I mean, I wouldn't think it would draw it any further than normal. I guess it's probably a really subjective question depending on the terrain. But if you were in low range with it's a 15 to, well, depending on the trim level, it's a 15-to-1 crawl ratio, which is pretty impressive. I don't know. We're all learning on the Recon.
And I've never been out west and off-roaded, but on the eastern end of the United States, most off-road trips, you're maybe doing 15, 20 miles a day.
Yeah.
Like, and more if you go from like one trail to another, you might go 15 miles on the road.
Yeah.
And then get back on the trail. But I've had days where I look down at the odometer, like, well, we didn't do anything today, but we spent the entire day on a trail.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as an issue. What I see more of an issue, at least on the east end of the country, all the places I've gone, they're in areas where electrification has not made it. So you're going to have to charge a ways away before you get into some of these areas. You're going to have to find a DC fast charger somewhere and then drive into where you're going. And so.
All right, this one, the short answer is no. In fact, you're a lot less likely to have form because you're not charging. So the short answer there is no, and that's an easy one. All right, so I wasn't going to let the cat out of the bag on this one, but that was a good source that I learned earlier this week. The Hurricane 4 is going to be added to the 4xe system. So I was keeping my mouth closed on that, but there you go. There it is.
Yep.
And I think that's great. I think that's huge news, because that will really, that I think could solve a lot of these form issues.
Yeah,
I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do we know if batteries perform worse in hotter climates, recall situations? It's a good question. Well, the short answer, in my opinion, I would say is no, because these batteries are basically climate controlled.
Yeah.
So I would say that I don't think there's any performance issues, cold versus warm. Well, that's not true, right? Cold, I think we burn through batteries more, but I don't know where these fires were state by state. Do you have any idea, Chris?
I don't. I haven't tracked that data at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen snow in pictures, and I've seen what looks like a warm climate in pictures. So I don't know.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
So so I've never had form, but I'm in Florida. Doesn't matter, right? You can still get form. Now we're more susceptible to it here in the northern states, but you can still get form regardless of your climate.
And I've had oil dilution. I actually did an experiment with mine in the summer. I was running in hybrid mode, and I wanted to see if I could get it into form in the middle of the summer. I was like doing an intentional experiment.
Yeah.
And I had oil dilution. You could smell the gas in the oil.
Yeah.
I sent that sample off, had it tested. It wasn't a real high amount, but it had gas in the oil. But I was doing it during the summer, and I kind of ended my experiment. What a lot of people, every year since the 4xe has come out, like the groups get just slammed with, as soon as it chills off in North America, all these people, I've got form, I've got form, I've got form. So everybody started believing that cold caused form, but it's the software includes the temperature more into its calculations, because every time you start the vehicle, it's injecting more fuel in, and to make sure you get a good start, and it's including that information in its calculation. So yeah, those people in Florida, you could have oil dilution and maybe not have form, depending on how you're driving it.
So let's move on from the form topic, and I'm just gonna recap some of the questions I'm seeing and comments I'm seeing. And there's one person says here, Matt says, I've only been in form once since 2022, and I live in Montreal. Zero form, but I drive 4 minutes away. We've beaten form to death. There's one comment though here I do want to share where to go. And I think, Chris, this is what we just talked about. And this is where this is true, right? The general population doesn't dork out on this.
Yes.
This is where the software, because of exactly this, it needs to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
The general population has no idea. They think something's wrong, and it's a function of the vehicle. That's where I think I'll die on that hill, right?
Look how many salespeople just put it in hybrid mode and leave it there, not realizing they could be, depending on a person's case use.
Sure.
They could be causing issues for themselves. So.
All right. So this one, the new RE range extended electric vehicle is what that stands for. Should be more reliable than the current plug-in hybrid EVs. Let's hope so, Scott. Let's go.
BMW had a lot of good luck with their i3 and their i8 being series hybrids, range extending. Now, the early i3s, you weren't supposed to go continue to drive. It was truly range extending, but you couldn't just keep driving and driving and driving. You had to at least stop at some point and charge. It just tapered off the charge at the end, and it gave you more range, but it wasn't sustaining the battery. And honestly, that would be a better design for most people, but we like to have vehicles that could just get on the highway and go.
Correct.
So, and that was a big complaint with the early i3s.
Mopar Junkie, we should invite you on the call. Next one we'll have to join you in on the call. It'd be a good 3-way conversation.
Yeah.
I had a nice conversation with him over Messenger the other day, and obviously he dorks out on this stuff just like we do. All right, so let's move on from forum here.
There's a question there. Was the Recon expected to replace the Wrangler at one point?
Oh, the Recon. So the Recon is not expected to replace the Wrangler in the States. My understanding is that maybe
in Europe, I could see that happening.
Yeah, because didn't they already mention that the Wrangler is not happening in Europe? So
I think so. I think that's right.
I don't know what information I have in my head that is I'm supposed to keep my mouth closed, and I'm not supposed to. So we're just going to be careful how I answer some of these.
There's a question down here that I hate to break somebody's heart.
What do you got? Go ahead.
What's going on with the Gladiator 4xe?
It's done. That one, put a nail in the coffin. That one's not happening. Now, doesn't mean they won't bring it back, but right now Jeep says no 4xe Gladiator, which sucks.
Yeah.
Here's an interesting one. I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think these campgrounds pay much attention to these vehicles that come in. Parking garages, that's a different story. Campgrounds, I just don't think they're on top of that. Listen, I've been to plenty of campgrounds. I own an RV myself. I've got a Class A. Those propane fridges are more of a danger than these 4xe are going to ever be at a campground. And that's coming from someone who drags my 4xe down the road with my propane fridge, keeping the beer cold in the fridge. So I think we're going to talk about recalls in a second, but the number of actual percentage, I mean, it's less than 1% or whatever. But
plus the parking garages, you're sitting around a whole bunch of other cars.
Correct.
And
yeah.
You're sitting between two slabs of cement, which can be damaged. I mean, the fire can be intense enough that it can damage the cement and or the concrete, and so that's why the parking garages have. And plus, it can be nearly impossible to fight the fire with they can't get their apparatus in there to fight the fires, and so there's all sorts of issues with parking garages that a park would not, a camping area wouldn't have.
Now, here's an interesting one. I don't know that I realized this because I thought all of the ones that I saw the skeleton frames of had a charging port on them. So that's interesting.
Is he saying you don't have to charge it?
That's fair. You don't have to
charge it. You can be responding to what I said. You could just keep driving it.
Oh, yeah. You can charge. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
Yeah.
You don't have to charge it, but yeah, correct.
Yeah.
All right, we got a bunch of let's see here. No frunk on the Grand Wagoneer Rev. Yep, just like we figured. Let's see.
That's a big engine.
I'm kind of moving around from these forum questions. Are there plans for the new Hurricane 4 and the Wrangler at some point? I can't answer that. My gut would tell me they'd be foolish not to, but yeah.
I would say there's going to be all sorts of engine changes.
Yeah, I think we're in a time where there's a lot of we're in a weird time. There's a lot of changes coming. So I thought the same. I thought 250 miles was low. I haven't heard a single thing about an extended range or long range model on the Recon. So
my wife and I just bought.
Mopar says that's 230 mile range on Moab. That's not how I understood it. I don't know. We'll learn. I'll learn more at the auto show too. We talked about that.
And people get kind of stuck on range. My wife and I just bought a Honda Prologue, which is like GM's best-selling EV last year was the Honda Prologue, by the way, and which is just ironic as all get out. But it's only got like a 280 mile range, and we've gone on trips. It works.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just,
And here's an interesting one. Everyone always gets hung up on the V8. Listen, me included, right? There's the two. My favorite Wranglers are the 392 and the 4xe. It doesn't make any sense, but they are, right? And it's crazy because you see all these EV haters, and then when you actually get the butts in the seats of these things, all of a sudden, on Facebook, I have a friend who has a Porsche of some or other, and they gave him an EV vehicle because his was in for service. This guy was the biggest EV hater you could find, right? He wouldn't step foot in one, but he had one for a loaner car, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh, this instant torque is kind of like right." Like until you actually drive one and understand it, people just hate. I mean, they want the V8. I'm not against the V8, but I don't know. Let's see what we got. I don't mind the power on the Grand Cherokee 4xe on EV mode. I wish we could make a BEV and delete the ICE, but I know we can't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Jeep wished that too when they made it.
Yeah. Why are there no new Wagoneer S EVs on lots? That's a good question. The dealership I'm connected to doesn't have them. I don't think they're flying off the lots. So I know some dealers aren't specifically ordering them because the demand isn't high. But that's a good question. And that's my only thought on that is demand.
Competition's kind of steep.
Yeah. Here we go. And I've got a list of things we want to talk about, but I think the organic conversation is working. If you guys think otherwise, let us know. But so do you think the Wrangler 4xe will be out for model year 26? My gut says no. I don't know. I don't think that's going to be one of the 12. So if you guys don't know what the 12 for 12 launch is, on the 12th of every month, Jeep is launching a special edition Jeep. Now, for that matter, are they all Wranglers? I kind of think so.
Yeah.
But so like they kicked us off with the Moab 392, and they said they won all in for horsepower. So that tells me that's probably the only 392 that they're going to kick it off with. I could be wrong. If you look at Jeep's website, they say follow the feathers, which means look at the ducks, right? And each duck is dressed in a different teaser. And then as you get closer, there's like little hints on the next one. So like December already has a hint for there's already a hint for what's coming out in December. So it kind of tease you along. It's a good question, Eric. I think I don't know. I don't think we're going to see one. That's my gut.
I feel like they're going back to the whiteboard with some things.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if people know they stopped making Grand Cherokee and Wrangler 4xe a couple months ago.
Yep.
They stopped pushing them down the line. So that was before the recall was announced. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. Am I bitter that we're not being talked to about it? Yes, but
no. And I think
there's some stuff going on.
You got to wonder too, right? This 12 for 12 launch obviously was in the plans for a long time. If there isn't a 4xe in this launch, was there? Did they have to pivot? Did they come up with something else? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, within the next 12 months. But my gut tells me we're not going to see a 26 4xe. I don't think so.
Maybe like the 96 Wrangler. It just doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. And I've talked about this in some of my videos because, we were supposed to see a 26 Wrangler. It was supposed to have a different transmission. It was supposed to have some improvements to basically a polished version to get a little more range out of it. And I was on a Q&A call. Some of those people might have been on it, and I asked, are we still going to see this 26 Wrangler with these improvements? And the response I got was kind of weird. Like, what improvements? I'm not sure. We'll get back to you on that. It kind of got swept. It was just based on all that and based on the temperature of what's going on with the 4xes. My gut tells me no.
Yeah. Somebody asked about the new Scout coming. I've heard the Scout might be in trouble.
I saw the Scout at one of the driving events. We didn't get to drive it, but man, that thing's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Yeah. I hope they make it.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that. 50-mile commute each way. That's definitely going to keep you out for them. That's your smoking gun right there. No question about it.
Yep.
Well, the 4xe get that new transmission along with the Hurricane 4, the one that's supposed to get
right.
That would be my guess. I mean, I would think so. So I get this, right? And I have a friend of mine, and I don't know if he's on here, Larry, and he's got 2 Teslas, and he geeks out over stuff, and we message each other stuff all the time. And it's interesting. I was actually given a Chevy Silverado EV as a demo I had one for about a month, and I got so used to just getting out of the car and walking away, didn't have to turn it off, get in it, push the brakes and go, like, and it just quiet and torque. I drove this thing for a month, and then I got back. So I drive a Ram TRX, which couldn't be any more of the opposite situation, right? Loud, can't pass the gas station. And it was funny because when you get back into a gas vehicle, you feel like, what is this? I actually have to start this. What's all this noise? And listen, I love the V8 noise, but they're two such different experiences.
Yes.
And I never thought in the world I would ever say I would enjoy an EV.
Yeah. My wife's Prologue has made my 4xe feel like an unrefined clunker.
Yeah, and that's what you feel like. What is this archaic thing I have to start? Yes. I totally get it. So and that's kind of what I talked about earlier is butts in seats, right? These people have to drive one to understand it,
And to what Brian is saying there, I play this little game like if I'm driving down the street and I can tell I'm not going to make it home and there's nobody around, it's like late at night and it's dark, man, I slow down. I try to milk that last like 2%, make it to the driveway without it starting. So
it turns into a game.
Oh, total game. I've done it so many times. Yeah.
So this is an interesting question.
Yeah, let's talk about leases. Woo!
Yeah, so
hot button.
I obviously have a connection with a Jeep dealership, and I was there the other day, and there are, I would say, four or five people a day coming in to get out of their 4xe.
Yeah.
Now, just like they can't sell a 4xe right now because it's under a stop sale, they can't sell your 4xe either. So if you trade it in, it's a big glorious paperweight to the dealership right now.
Yeah.
So your trade value is absolutely hurt by the fact that the dealership can't sell it, right?
Yes.
So do I think that the values will come back up? Yes. Do I think it's worth buying out your lease? Absolutely not. My personal opinion would not buy it out. You could release one or probably even buy another used one for less miles for less than that buyout.
Yeah.
I personally have mine is leased. I don't plan on buying it out, not because I don't like it, because it financially doesn't make sense. That's my personal opinion. Obviously, all that can change.
I bet the climb up will be a lot slower than the drop down.
Correct. It will be a lot slower. And let's be realistic. Like, these things kind of have they got a mark on them right now,
Yeah.
So no one's rushing out to buy them. But yes,
everything's so formulaic in the used car market now.
Yeah.
I mean, you put in a make, model, and how many miles, and you'll get a price tag. I mean, and that formula gets impacted by all of this.
Yep. And then, I mean, not to divert for a second, but who I really feel bad for is the guy who bought a final edition 392 for 10 grand over sticker, and then Jeep drops it 20 grand.
Yeah.
Guys, the 4xe isn't all bad. If you got caught in that window with the 392 before Jeep dropped the price 20 grand, you're all right. I actually have a friend who bought one. It was $106,000. She ended up trading it in. She took a little bit of a bath on it. Not terrible. And it was a week later, they dropped the price 20 grand. I'm like, you got out just in time.
Yeah.
And now if you're looking to buy one, great.
And it's funny, in the beginning when the 4xe came out, everybody was wondering, like, why didn't they do an EV model? And if you run the numbers on like what it would take to just give a Jeep Wrangler at its MPGe rating a battery that was big enough to get it 250 miles, you're talking $115,000 Jeep Wrangler. And I remember saying at the time, you can't put $115,000 Jeep Wrangler on a lot next to a $40,000 Jeep Wrangler and expect that to sell. Boy, was I wrong with the 392.
Well, what were you though? I mean, they sold, but let's be real, and I actually looked to see, all right, everyone's like, oh, well, the one that's $20,000 less is because it's stripped down. Guys, it's not the case. You know what they're missing? The bronze accents and color painted fenders.
Yeah.
$20,000 less. It's still got all the lockers. It's still got all the gear. So it's not because they stripped it down and and tore it out, and
Yeah.
cheap, right? These are always nice to hear. Spent a lot of time putting videos together and pulling what little hair I have left out. So thanks. All right, next time, Robert, we're inviting you in. That would be a great conversation. I don't think I can. I could figure out a way to drag you in here if I can. Present or invite.
Oh, I didn't know that Scout was designed by former Jeep staff. Huh, cool.
Here, hang on a second.
Do you think Jeep Stellantis is going to do anything in regards to how many individuals are? I don't know what they can do.
Robert, check your Facebook message, see if it works. If not, we'll do it next time. Let's see here. What do we got? Back to your comment, Mike, especially here in Canada. Keep Jeep family did not give out much details on the 4B when it came out. Finally, we left ourselves. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You weren't alone. We've talked about this in our previous videos, how uneducated the dealer. Listen, this isn't the dealer's fault. This is Jeep's fault, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they did. People didn't understand the platform, right?
No.
They just don't, and most people don't geek out on it like you or I. I mean, we've had a couple hundred people on this stream, but 300,000, soccer moms out there, right? They just want to drive it, like you guys said, right? And it's not the car that you just drive it.
And I've heard that from the Europeans too, that they're just kind of out in left field. Yeah.
So this was the comment we were talking about earlier. The Grand Cherokee is also canceled. I wasn't going to let that cat out, but Wagoneer S will replace Grand Cherokee in Europe. So Grand Cherokee and Wrangler are done in Europe. And
can you imagine the people at Jeep having to navigate the geopolitical landscape of all of this? Like this continent's doing this, and this continent's not doing this, and this continent did this, and then we're moving back this way. It's like I wouldn't want to be trying to figure out what car to put where.
So, well, you might have someone that's been in the seat. I have someone that has been. I haven't really had a chance to pick their brain yet. This Thursday, I will. I'll have my butt in a seat, but I'm sure I won't be able to drive it. It's a prototype unit.
And the person that I know isn't really allowed to talk about it yet. So.
Yeah, right, exactly. Do the 21 still have a 10-year hybrid warranty over the laters? Yep, they didn't change that. And if you look at the recalls that are happening, it's worded kind of weird. It does say it's going to offer an extended warranty on the batteries, but it says something along the lines of like, we're acceptable, or we're there was a clause that made me think we're not all getting it. And I don't remember what exactly it was.
Yeah. And it's funny, I wonder if his question came from a couple of years ago. If you went in and looked at like my Jeep in the system, what's it called? Not YTech, but whatever the dealerships use. My Jeep got changed to 8 years, and a bunch of us with 21s like brought that up.
I remember you saying that.
And they went in the system and changed the 21s back to 10 years. It's probably just some database error that made it. But if you've got your window sticker, it says 10 years.
So apparently you don't have to charge it at all. But I'm thinking in my head, wouldn't this be a waste of? Wouldn't it be more efficient to charge it and run it like an EV? Is it not charging it, acting like our 4xe would with an e-save and then battery charge on?
Yeah, it's going to lose some efficiency in that. That's for sure.
Yeah. Let's see if Jeep wants completely new Scout coming. Yeah. I mean, you would lose the frunk, but so I talk about that in my video. I think so. We know the Stella Large platform can obviously handle EV. We know it can handle the 6-pack, and we know what's with the little thumbs up. Did that actually do something? Did you see that?
I saw that earlier. I don't know what that was.
What the hell?
There it goes. Yeah.
Anyway,
mine's dirty. I was rotating my tires today. Well, mine doesn't do that. I don't
know. So we know it can hold a Hurricane 6-pack. We know it can hold an EV, and they put a V8 in there for the what do you call it, for the drag pack. So I think you're going to see the Recon with multiple different platforms, you know.
And you were talking about that that Under Armour in your video, you know,
Yeah.
that it's armored up underneath. That's got to add a lot of rigidity, you know, to be able to handle all that torque.
I would
that
think
horsepower.
so. That and to be substantial enough to protect the battery, right?
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
This one, can we please do it? People want a affordable V8. I don't care if you put it in the Wrangler. I don't care. Just give us an affordable V8. So many people want a V8 and don't want to spend even $80,000 on a 392. Give us a 5.7.
Yeah.
You wouldn't keep it on the lot. Mark my word.
No, it would. The EPA wouldn't like it, but everybody else would.
So I know of one special gladiator that's coming. I think you and I are on the same page, but we can't talk about that quite yet. So this is the right. This is we agree. You know, we've talked about this, Chris and I, and probably to nauseum, but it is frustrating to see where. Well, let's be realistic. The Recon, that's, you know, sure they're pushing it, but there was a time, you know, this is all lined up before any recalls happened, right?
Yeah.
You can't necessarily be mad that they're revealing this new vehicle when there's recalls on a 4xe.
They got to keep the business going.
Right. So I get that.
Yeah.
But as a Jeep consumer, here's my biggest thing is communication, because there's been none from Jeep. And they're letting communication all happen through media, which I'm sure is a pretty standard protocol in the industry. But I don't know. They still push, you know, I'm seeing things on 4xe forums now that we've got that, you know, they're pushing out advertisements across the Uconnect screen, you know, $1,500 off your next vehicle or whatever.
Yeah.
You can push an ad across my screen, but you can't push something across saying, you know, you're under recall or this or that. That, I don't know. They communicate with us for everything else.
Yeah. And I was running some numbers earlier on this battery situation. We're going to call it the battery situation because I think that's the best way to look at it.
Yeah.
And the battery situation, should we go into this now?
Go for it. It's a good segue.
Bigger than the fires.
Yes.
The fires are a symptom of another issue. And I know we're focused on the fires because that's the recall, but the batteries, we're tracking in the 4xe fans group. I've had a poll running, and I bring it back to the top of the group periodically. Keep in mind, we've only got like 25,000 people in this group. So it's not anywhere near the 372,000 4xe customers that exist. But we're tracking somewhere in the neighborhood of 22 to 23% replacement rate on these batteries. What these batteries actually cost is an absolute mystery. It changes regularly in the Mopar catalog. There have been price tags as high as $18,000, which I think sounds ridiculously high.
And like we were talking earlier, as low as 500.
As long as currently right now in the Mopar catalog, that battery is listed at $570. If they have figured out a way to build a 17.5 kilowatt hour battery for $570 installed, that'd be like $32.57 per kilowatt hour, which would be like Nobel Engineering Prize winning if they could do that. You know, I don't know if the average is still around $150 or $175 per kilowatt hour, but you got to take this battery situation is huge. If just 15%, you know, I have no idea if our 22, 23% is indicative of the global market as far as battery replacements, but I think it's got to be somewhere close. And
pause you for a second. We got Robert. He's going to join us. So when we're done with this conversation, Robert, I'm going to let you in on stage here.
So I figured I'm doing just some basic math. If 15% of the batteries have needed to be replaced to this point, that's 5,580 batteries. If they're $5,000 each, that's $27 million. if you go to the high side, say 22%, that's 8,184 batteries. If they're whatever that $12,000 price range that a lot of people had mentioned, that's 98 million in cash that they're just throwing out there. There's no way to recoup that. I mean, that's just
And
money
oopsies.
lost.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So this gets expensive. Now, who's footing the bill? Samsung, Jeep, Stellantis? I'd love to know those answers, but.
All right, so welcome, Robert.
Oh, geez, he's got like the professional setup. He's looking cool, dude. I gotta get me a microphone. I got one around here somewhere.
Robert, why don't you give a little intro of who you are? Can you hear us?
I gotta see if I can hear you through this because I'm using my phone to hear you.
There, look, I
Let's
look
see
official
here.
now too. I got me a microphone. I think your sound's coming through your speakers.
Let's see.
Or it was.
I don't know what's going on. I got my volume all the way up on my headphones.
Hit that
So
gear.
you guys
down
can
at
hear
the
me
bottom.
okay though, right?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Hold on here. I'm still trying to figure this out. Give me just a second.
Go ahead. While you're sorting through that, well, I disagree with this statement. I think there's some evolution coming. I don't think it's dead.
I hope he's wrong. I think there's a metamorphosis coming, though. The real question, how would they make that metamorphosis right for those of us that have the Gen 1 versions?
Yeah, I'm trying to play with this. Is that changing on your side?
Yeah, it's 3 little dots. Then, I'm big. Then all 3 of us.
That's a good question. I will say it depends where your motor was made. I'm sure they're going to have a way of figuring that out, to tracking that.
And it appears to be the ones that were made. Was it the ones made in Indiana?
I think it was the ones made in Indiana. Yeah.
So if you have an Italian motor like mine, if you go on that, you go look at your sticker or you search your VIN on that VIN search website, you can see where your motor came from.
But he won't know where the replacement was made, though.
Oh, he's talking about yeah. Ooh.
Right. That would definitely want to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talked about depreciation. I mean, let's be realistic. We're not buying assets that hold their value, regardless of recalls or not, right?
Yeah.
I
feel horrible for anybody who's leased.
So that's interesting you say that, because I've leased.
I mean, right now, like depending on where it goes by the end of your lease, yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite. I feel bad for those who've bought. Like, I look at mine and be like, my lease is up in a year, and I turn it back in and walk away from it. Where if I bought this thing 2 years ago,
yeah,
I own this thing. You know,
if it makes you feel any better, my Charger Daytona, I leased that, and if I would have bought it, I'd be $30,000 upside down right now.
There you go.
Oh, gosh,
Robert, why don't you introduce yourself? Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So why don't you introduce yourself to the team? Not everyone probably knows who you are, and I know, Chris and I are more big in 4xE world, but let everyone know who you are.
Well, I am a diehard Mopar enthusiast. I've been writing for several websites since I was 16 years old. I'm the editor and owner of MoparInsiders.com. I have a YouTube channel on here called the Mopar Junkie, obviously. So I'm pretty well in depth with the Mopar world. Not as much as you guys are with the 4xE stuff, but I do a little bit of everything.
Yep.
So I keep up with all the news and rumors and all that other stuff. So.
Yeah, and one thing I got to give you credit is I think you do a nice job of balancing nonsense, keeping it real. The stuff that comes from you is quality. You can when you put it out, you know it. You can count on it being legit. There's a lot of garbage out here, and I truly, I've been following you for a long time, long before we've actually had conversations, and I don't
think anybody has been as accurate from the beginning as he has. I mean,
Well, we try. The thing is a lot of the stuff that we hear, is pretty much, our sources are pretty good. The problem is trying to put forth news right now is kind of crazy because everything is changing so quickly and so fast. I mean, you look at the last 11 months, everything's done a complete 180.
Yep.
So everything that we heard in December of last year, since Tavares has been out, everything has changed. Whole new direction. Now, some of the vehicles that we're seeing right now, like we see, like the new Cherokee that's being launched with a hybrid system, the Grand Wagoneer, the range extender, all that stuff was planned. All of it's planned.
Yeah.
But stuff going forward from now is going to be totally different. So electrification is still a huge part of the puzzle. And the people don't understand that. One of the biggest problems I have is, I leased a Charger Daytona, okay? I love the car. I drove a fast feedback car. It had several problems. I love the design of the car. And everybody hates it. Everybody online hates it. But when I go somewhere, I have a crowd of people around it.
Yep.
I love driving it. The car keeps getting better and better with over-the-air updates. But the problem is
a touchy word in this group.
So the problem with the whole electrification thing is I've been a gas person, internal combustion engine person my whole life.
Yep.
I still own a Hemi Durango. I have a 1979 Chrysler 300 sitting out in the garage with a 5.9 360 4-barrel. I'm very much a petrol head, but the whole EV performance thing is a big changer. The problem is what people don't understand is this 4xe stuff, electrification isn't going away.
Yep.
Okay.
No.
The problem is you see all the keyboard warriors saying, EVs suck, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we were poking at this earlier. Exactly this.
Yeah. 20% of the US market, well, roughly, I would say realistically about what they say in different surveys is around 20%. It goes from anywhere from like 16 to about 24% of the market in the US that's been surveyed want EVs. So that's a huge piece. Yep. They're not going away.
And there was a bit of data that came out this week that 1 in 5 cars sold globally, I think this year, is electric. Now, take China out of that. I wonder how the math would change. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But the thing is, with the 4xe puzzle, it's really important because the 4xEs were the first step in electrification for the brands. You guys have become beta testers, especially Chris, because Chris contacted me when he got his Wrangler, and he was like he was the first person. I remember him sending me stuff going, "Hey, look at this presentation Jeep's doing on my Jeep that I just got."
Yep.
Yeah.
So the whole point is you guys have been beta testers.
Yep.
Now the next generation of 4xe stuff is coming. I talked to Mike the other day.
Yep.
It's coming very, very soon. The problem is all the issues going in right now.
Yep.
Where they're not solving anything. And a lot of that has to do with what I've been hearing is back last year, they fired 2% of the North American workforce. Most of them were software and electrical engineers.
Imagine the problems we're having, right?
Well, dude, they launched 2 brand new straight up EVs last year and they couldn't launch them in time. Launched my car with tons of problems.
Well, these things were showing up at dealers where they had to push them off the transit trucks into the dealership. I mean, I saw them at dealerships that they had 3 miles on them and they were putting new batteries in them. And that was a software thing. You couldn't open the passenger door. It would brick the car if it wasn't, if it didn't go through a PDI process. I mean, stuff that was insane, right?
Yeah.
That should never happen. Like literally, if you open the passenger door before the car was PDI'd, you had to put a new battery in it. Tell me how that makes sense.
Well, just to let you guys know, this is kind of funny. I know a lot of people within Stellantis, right? And one of my buddies works over at Windsor. So when my car rolled off the line, it was one of 25 that got pulled because it was bricked right off the bat. It had 3 miles on it. 3 miles. It got 2 brand new EDMs. It got a brand new big battery pack, and that failed. So before the car had 4 miles on it, it had brand new EDMs and 3 battery packs. So
Yeah.
that's what he did when he pulled my VIN off the line. He said, "Hey, they completely redid your car." But
Wow.
but the big thing is, going into this whole electrification game, Stellantis needs electrification. Obviously, we've talked, Mike, you and I talked about Europe.
Yep.
Like I said, the Wagoneer S is replacing, the Grand Cherokee over there. The Recon is replacing the Wrangler. Their emission standards are tightening down.
Yep.
And I got an article going up tomorrow about John Elkann actually begging the EU to say, hey, we got to pull these restrictions out. We need internal combustion.
Yeah.
But the honest to God's truth is, all the issues are now stemming, and you pointed on this in the reason why I jumped on here is you guys were dead right, because you guys again are beta testers. Even though the 4xe stuff has been out for 5 years now.
Yep.
Now we're starting to see the wear and tear on these vehicles.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're seeing battery packs have massive issues. We've seen fires.
Yeah,
which
Chris,
you can't test
about
for.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So
you-
we've
you
seen
can't-
fires. You might remember,
that-
Chris, living in Ohio, you might remember it made national news that the Toledo plant back in 2002, right when they were rolling these out, they had a line of 4xe that caught on fire. They were just sitting there and they
Yep.
burst into flames.
Yeah.
So the thing is we've known that these vehicles have had issues. Now you're seeing people put high mileage on them. You're seeing them go through normal wear and tear for multiple cycles. I'm talking, yours has been, again, 5 years. That's multiple cycles through winter, summer, and Ohio. I live in Detroit. We get cold winters. You get cold winters too. Not as mad as us, but you get warmer summers and stuff than us too.
And that 1.6 million they did testing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't test for age degradation.
Exactly.
You can't test that because one thing we've been
No one's
tracking
going to
with-
see that kind of mileage in that short amount of time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and age, like when these batteries first started failing, we started thinking, well, it's mileage. It ended up, at least what we're thinking is it's age. It's not, because there were people with like 12,000 miles and people with 52,000 miles,
Mm-hmm.
but the same year of Jeep. So it's like battery degradation is age related, not use related as much. I mean, it all plays in, of course.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, and I think the biggest concern about these battery packs aren't so much fire, like the actual fire themselves, because luckily with the 4xe, the battery packs are smaller. The problem is, if you've seen the latest video did you guys see the video where the forklift come in and picked up the Jeep and moved it?
Yep.
Did you see all the poisonous gas that comes from these battery
Yes.
packs?
That's
Yeah.
not
Just
smoke.
for the firefighters who have to deal with that stuff.
Yeah.
On top of it, this is what I don't get, and I'm not trying to get off topic, but maybe you guys have some insight into this. This is all relatively new. 5 years is nothing in the auto industry. Okay.
Right.
The problem is we've been talking about electric vehicles, and even let's be honest, EVs were kind of pushed on us. We talked about plugins a long time ago. Now all of a sudden it was a huge switch over to EVs. But you would think with all the regulations that the automotive industry has, you would think that they have certain procedures that every vehicle would have being an EV, with cut points for the fire departments, what to put on them, all this stuff. Every vehicle is different.
Yep.
So the problem is you have all these new vehicles come out.
And they
you have
throwing
an
these fires
issue.
out if you want to.
Yeah. Well, I just seen a video where I can't remember what electric car it was. They put some fire department over on the East Coast, put it in a container for a week.
You see that? Yes.
Yeah. And it was
saw that
bubbling
too.
water.
Bubbling.
And
Yeah.
boil.
And I was like,
boil
holy
the
smokes,
water.
they could actually run and regen energy off of it, run it as like an actual thermal device.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the question is, what is Jeep going to do with these things? These, obviously, I don't think they really knew about this going into it, but I think there's a lot more to it that they're trying to solve. And like you said, Mike, these little short-term recalls for software and stuff aren't really providing a serious answer for the owners.
Yeah, no.
Mm-mm.
So let's talk about this for a second, because
Yeah.
I'm all right. So this is a good question, and all right. So I'm gonna back up to the over there update thing, right? So I'm on my 4xe page. I see someone says, "Hey, I got this over there update," and I hit OK. My car's bricked. I'm like, "That's weird." I just parked the Jeep a half hour ago, and I hit accept. I've gotten plenty of updates on my Uconnect. You hit accept, you close the door, you walk away. you don't think anything of it, right? Whatever. Sometimes I've had them on my Ram. In fact, I had one on my Ram just a week before this 4xe one. And I saw someone had this issue with their 4xe, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to go check mine out. And sure enough, it died before I got to the end of the driveway. In the back of my head, and I'm not trying to be a conspiracist, a conspiracy theory here, but did Jeep know about this battery issue quietly, and were they trying to push some kind of over-the-air update over, that caused this glitch? And oh shit, we created a bigger problem trying to patch this battery thing up quietly. I don't know. I don't know enough about this telemetrics box, if that can even control, the same side of the technology that would normally get flashed with these batteries. But I'm with, it does seem suspicious that we had this over-the-air update and then boom, now we got this battery thing, right?
Especially given that Jeep in the past has had a policy that they would make no software changes over the air that would impact the operation of the vehicle.
Right.
They would do Uconnect only.
Right. And that's why I've never thought twice of it. You just hit accept and walk in, right?
My question is, why is there access from the Uconnect to the telemetrics device unless they've changed policy on that? And
here's the other thing.
Telemetrics, where else can they go in the vehicle?
Right. And here's the other thing. The dealership can't even access that. So like when the fix came out for this over-the-air update was go park your car outside. We're going to send you another over-the-air update, right? The dealership can't even access that same area, I'm going to call it, of this technology for them to flash. So, they're like, well, yeah, that's all over-the-air stuff. What comes through over the air, we can't do through our computers. Maybe that's not 100% accurate. I don't know, but he seemed pretty confident that was not the case. And then
guy knows what he's doing.
Was that?
Your guy knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. And then the other, it says if these aren't taking the over-the-air update, you're supposed to reflash all of the modules, right, and then send it back outside. So I don't know the timing. I'm with Harry here. The timing seems suspicious. Maybe it's just coincidence, and bad luck comes in groups of threes. I don't know, but it does.
And I would think since they stopped production on the lines, I think before that OTA went out, I think there's a lot going on in the background. Maybe this is part of it. Maybe it wasn't. But
and Chris, you say it all the time. All these people at Stellantis are probably smarter than all of us combined. These engineers, at least let's hope so, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. This one, my knee-jerk reaction is no. I've never heard of a manufacturer helping people get out of their lease. Maybe there's something that comes so dealers have what's called conquest money, right? So let's say you own a Ford and you trade your Ford in for a Jeep, you get conquest money because they got you out of another brand into their brand. I think it would be great to have the conquest money work internally, where if you're a 4xe owner, guess what? Here's a kiss on the cheek. You're going to get $5,000, whatever, X amount of $1,000 towards the trade-in or towards the value or something would be huge. I think that's living.
I don't know where I read this today. Somebody said they were doing like a 10-month early deal on leases. Like if your lease is up in 10 months from today, like you could do it today. I don't know if I didn't dig into that.
They did something like that back in 2014 to push vehicles. They basically let people lease a vehicle for a 2-year lease, and then what they did was they basically ended their contract on their first lease to get an equal value vehicle on certain models. Like the Dodge Charger was one of those that they did. Charger and I believe the Challenger. So they could do something like that, but
all I'm going to say is if they did something, they would probably earn a lot of respect from their Jeep fans, right?
Yes.
At a little cost in the grand scheme of things, it would be a smart business move to keep these people in the product. That's my opinion. Chris, I think you did this is a question regarding your survey. Do you know how many of those were 2020 Wranglers on the battery replacements?
Oh, I was just replying. Somebody, he messaged me that. Yeah, that's John. So we were tracking some data. I want to say this was like early 24. We were tracking some data, which I think backs up what I was saying earlier about age being more of a determining factor than mileage. But it was definitely more 21s, followed by 22s, followed by 23s. So I don't think that has anything to do with, I think it just has everything to do with the age, I think, and battery degradation, which I don't know if people know, like when these things get around 79% state of health, what's called the SOH figure in the battery, that's when it'll throw that P0BBD code, which is indicating that there's an imbalance in the cells. Imbalance in the cells gets tougher as that battery degrades, as it gets old, because all the cells don't degrade at the same rate. So cell balancing becomes more of an issue as that battery degrades more. And when you get cell imbalance, you get thermal runaway, you get, hero cells that go high voltage, you get the weak ones that go low, you get that imbalance thing going on, thermal runaway, off gassing, fire. So it seems to be age related. Now, we haven't tracked that data lately, but I bet it holds true that the older the battery, the more likely it is to be replaced at this point. But I think that will continue to be true. I think the 21s will increase.
Yeah, it's gonna be linear.
23s will increase. Yeah,
for sure. I agree.
So I don't think it's because they're 21s. I think it's just because they're older.
I mean, this one, I think there's hope. Yes. I
hope so.
Yeah, I think the biggest question, and it's the elephant in the room, is enough with software recalls to fix a hardware problem. But
I'm just naive enough to still have hope that they're going to make this right.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm a fan of this thing. I mean, I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously here we're all enthusiasts, right? We all want this brand to win, period, right? And it's none of us are. And Chris, I know you and I are on the same page. We've never bashed the brand. We're not sitting here saying this is junk. We're not, because I don't think it is. And you had the conversation earlier. I think this technology is great. I think what the engineers have built is great. They're getting caught with bad parts supply.
Yes.
But I'm not saying Stellantis or Jeep should point fingers at that either, right? Because they're in the driver's seat of who picks, who they make these contacts with, right? But I don't know. I guess I'm with Chris. I'm hopeful. Hopefully not naive enough, but I'm hopeful.
I can say from being an EV person now. So when I got my Charger Daytona in May, and again, electrification is all new to me.
Yeah, that
car was plagued with issues. I mean, I didn't have a braking issue or nothing. It drove fine, but like stupid things weren't happening, and they constantly put over-the-air updates in my car. To the point where I still have a few issues, but it's not as bad. So I still have hope that they're going to eventually fix the thing. The problem is, again, like you guys said, is word of mouth to all these people that are owners goes a long way. How many 4xe models are on the road? That's a lot of customers. Right. And I think that they will do right in my mind, especially with Antonio Floza at the helm, because Jeep was his baby.
Yep. We talked about that earlier.
He's dead. He's dead set on the North American market and recapturing it, and he's really big into quality control.
Yep.
So no doubt in my mind that they'll fix it somehow.
I know you were on some of those calls too, and everything I've seen was, he wants quality before. When's this coming out? When it's right,
Mm-hmm.
Now, listen, the only thing I will say is they said the same thing. Now, granted, this Filosa wasn't there, but they said the same thing about the Wagoneer, right? The Wagoneer was supposed to come out. It would be this pinnacle model, and what they made, the hoops they made the dealerships jump through, and these 10 commandments that the dealerships had to have, and in order to even sell this product, and none of that was followed through, right? None of it, and to the point, like, obviously the Wagoneer wasn't even Jeep brand, which we're not even going to get into that conversation today, but
right.
But it's interesting because so the customers have heard we want quality. But most of these customers don't live and breathe, the personalities behind it. We do, right? We follow the, the powers to be at Stellantis, and we dive into it, but the average consumer doesn't, and all they see is the hatred and the negativity towards this product. And man, it's tiring, even just as an enthusiast. It's tiring to watch, you know. And I was talking to the dealer owner, Ray, at the dealership I work with, and you know, I said to him, I said, you know what Jeep's got to do, or would at least help, is put your money where your mouth is and do what you did for Ram. Let's give us that 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. I guarantee you would help earn some of that faith back into the product. It just
I honestly think part of it would be transparency. Like, instead of just rushing
yes.
updates out, like here's the next update that your dealer finds out about. Here you go.
Right.
It's being transparent with the owners.
Yes.
Have the engineering team go on Jeep's YouTube channel,
yes,
answer questions,
yes,
and talk to the people that are having issues.
Yes.
There's this Jeep Cares program that they do. They do it on our forums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, it upsets a lot of people because the number one thing that they talk about in Jeep Cares is, oh, well, contact our customer service person and we'll talk about that.
It's
and
horrible.
They never get back to them. And it leaves a stale taste in the owner's mouths.
They would
so
beg
by
better off
having
without that.
The engineering team more open, like, hey, we're going to talk to you about our issues, and not just sit down for a half-hour pre-taped thing.
Yes,
I'm talking sit down for an hour
like
and a half, like
right
what you guys are doing.
Yes,
and talk to the actual owners about these issues and say,
like
hey, this is what we're planning.
With me early on, I mean, I had him on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and then he got told he wasn't allowed to do that anymore. So
yeah.
And they were great videos to this day. I mean, it's just a shame.
Well, they're always worried about lawsuits. Let's face it that way. They're always worried about getting sued if they say the wrong thing. But that's fine. Have your legal people in there and talk.
Right? Yeah.
You know.
And to the point to what Robert said, the people that are leaving Jeep, like, I can't tell you that the trend in comments, like if you follow comments on YouTube, one of the comments I'm getting is, "This is my first and last Jeep."
Mm-hmm.
And
countless of those comments. Countless.
And we know, I work for AT&T. That's my actual job that I do for a living. And we know we have what we call churn. I think that's an industry. I think that goes across a lot of businesses. When AT&T customers go to Verizon or T-Mobile, the odds of them coming back to AT&T are slim to none. Mm-hmm. And there are people that left AT&T in the 2G days who swear up and down the service stinks. Well, we're now 4 generations of technology advanced into 5G, but they still have the opinion that AT&T stinks from the 2G days. The same thing's going to happen with these people that, you know, their first experience. I mean, there were a lot of people getting into the 4xe who had never had a Jeep in their life. Mm-hmm. That's the only experience they have. And I don't know, they're going to have a hard time getting them back.
I agree. Here's another one. Do you think this was an experiment to gather hybrid data or change gone bad? I think we could all speculate all day long what this was. I don't know if we'll ever know.
Who knows?
You know, I'm with this, right? Affordable V8 that doesn't need expensive gas. Let's go. 5.7, right? Let's put it in. Let's give it to us.
Yeah.
Do you think Jeep can be successful in having the Recon match the true testing to be trail rated? I do. I think they've already done it, in my personal opinion. I don't know, Robert, what you think. You've seen some of the videos, and I don't think they would put that badge on it without actually testing it.
No, if you go on to when Mike posted his video and I posted mine, we were both under embargo. Yep. If you go over to Jeep.com right now, or not Jeep.com, I'm sorry, Jeep's YouTube channel, they posted a mini video that's like 2 minutes long of showing it back on November 7th, tackling out in Moab. There's 2 of them rock climbing and stuff. It's a true trail rated vehicle.
And Jeep, correct me if I'm wrong, they will not put that badge on until that vehicle actually passes that trail. Like, it's not just we think this will do it. They do it, right?
So yeah. That's exactly right, because if you look at now it's the Grand Wagoneer, but if you look at the Wagoneer, they had the Series 2 all-terrain.
Yep.
Now they have the Grand Wagoneer Upland. If you look at those vehicles, those are specific off-road vehicles, but they don't have the trail rated badge because they don't meet the requirement for maneuverability because they're just so big.
Yep.
And if the Recon's got that skid, I put a skid plate on mine. I'm telling you, skid plate off-roading, at least on the east end of the country, is completely different from non-skid plate off-roading because you get on something and just slide off. It's just so nice, and
You're not
and
freaking out.
without
What
it,
am I sitting on?
yeah, without it, you're like you hear all this grinding and ripping, and yeah.
Nobody wins in these class action lawsuits, in my opinion. And be careful. I've read that you got to pay attention to what you're doing. If you don't win, you could be you could be held liable for some some of the costs. So I would definitely. My personal opinion is I'm personally not touching any of it. It is what it is. But
you're wrong, Mike. There is a winner. It's the lawyers.
Okay, you're right. You're right. Yeah, but as a consumer, I would be very, very careful.
Because all they chase is settlements. They're not chasing accountability and change. You know?
Correct. So this, George, I've been preaching. Chris, you've been preaching. And this is what we just got done talking about. I mean, amen, right? Like communication, education would solve so many things.
Yep.
Now, this one, I've talked about in a few of my videos, and it's interesting. So those of you who don't know, the Chevy Bolt had an issue with batteries, and they put out a software issue that would only allow the Bolt to charge up to, I think it was 80%, because again, fire risk is higher when the voltage is higher, right? But they, I don't know that it was 1 million batteries. Maybe I think it was a couple 100,000.
Did he even sell 1 million bolts?
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe $1 million. But I think it was less than 100,000 bolts, but no less. They replaced all of the batteries, and I actually had a friend who had a Bolt, and he was able to get a buyback out of it. They bought his car back for what he paid for it, and he got into a new Bolt, and he really got they did him right. I will say that. You know what I mean?
Looks like 142,000.
Okay, so I wasn't too far off. This I'll die on this hill with Amy. Like, lack of communication and 100% respect from the owners. And here's the thing: we've had countless. We've over 100 people watching this whole time. Which, guys, thank you. That's super awesome. An hour and a half in, I would have tapped out a long time ago. But but
they're nerds too.
Yeah, that's right. But between Chris and my page, and between both the YouTube channels, we're pushing over 100,000, plus Jeep enthusiasts. These people, find me a brand that has more enthusiastic, more loyal owners than us. You will not find it. And a little bit of communication, and like exactly this comment, man, you wouldn't alienate as many people as you are right now, because you are truly alienating people that have Jeep tattooed on their arm, right? It's just it wouldn't take, and it wouldn't even be costly. It wouldn't even cost them money to do this,
Especially in today's world, you got brands like Rivian, which were old Jeep designers.
Yep.
You got Scout, which was Chris Benjamin, who used to lead Jeep in the design. Right. So you have tons of brands out there that you can go to. That's the thing. So
Jeep's not on an island anymore, right?
Ever.
Right. The Wrangler and Jeep that brand, or the name, I should say, carried itself. You've got competition now, right? Which is good. Right. Competition is good. I think the reason we have competition is why we have the V8 Wrangler, right? But back a little bit to this, 100%. So I agree with this. Like, my first battery operated Makita drill, 3 screws, it couldn't charge, right? It was over. Right? Yeah, I'll never own a battery operated drill. I've got a 60-gallon compressor in my garage because air tools are the only way. I don't turn it on anymore, right?
I got made fun of recently for having a plug-in Sawzall. A friend of mine's like, those are kind of old now, right?
But this is spot on, and I think right now we're in the middle of like that guy who can't get rid of his plug-in Sawzall, but his buddy's got the Milwaukee one, or maybe he's got the Ryobi one right now. Or I think we're at the Ryobi stage right now. I don't know. let's see here. I have a year and a half left on my lease. There's lots of good comments here. Love the Jeep. It's been my dream car, but these recalls have me nervous. I get it, right? Bought my 25 Rubicon for 39,000. Pretty good deal. That
was used, I guess.
It says bought the 25 Rubicon 4xe for $39,000. Pretty good deal. So I'm not worried as a loss in value quite as much. People said 60. So that's definitely a deal. I don't know how you got that price. That's a deal. You know?
Was it hot?
Literally.
Yeah.
So, Robert, do you know this? What battery? Who makes the battery for these? Do you have any idea for the Stella Large platform?
Well, there's no real good answer. I heard it could be either LG or Samsung, and I believe I want to say Samsung.
I think I have a picture of one when they replaced one at the dealer. I'll have to
they
look
use
it
the
up.
LG and the.
I can ask my buddy who does PDI on them. Let me see.
And I had a picture of one when they did. I'll look into it too and see, but I know I have a picture of one in the crate, and it's like the size of a freaking king size mattress.
I bet.
Robert, here's one for you. In your opinion, is the Daytona faster than the new 6-pack Charger? I would say no.
Well, I just drove the 6-pack this past week. Daytona's way faster, straight line speed. If you're looking at both cars, they drive totally different.
Yep.
Totally different. So realistically, if you like straight line speed and you're like the old kind of feel of the older cars, the heavier style Boulevard Cruiser, Daytona's where it's at. If you like lighter handling, I mean, those new 6-pack cars handle awesome. And you like the fact that you don't have to charge, 6-pack. So I still love my Daytona. Both cars have huge benefits. And I think that car, the 6-pack is going to be its redemption because the Daytona was launched so bad, like the Wagoneer S. And I think that this will be the first part of redemption for that car. So you can go on my YouTube channel and watch the whole review. I did a massive review on the 6-pack cars, and I do a lot of stuff with my Daytona too.
Thank you for that. Love the 4xe. I mean, we're all positive about it too, right? Let's see, we got quality control is not a. Well, here, let's back up. You can't argue this comment, right? You know what I mean? You can't argue it.
Yep.
It certainly feels this way, and I think if it is a priority, we'll start reaping the benefits of this moving forward. Is my opinion.
To his point, let's talk about the electric coolant heater in the 4xe. I'm on.
Why is this still an issue?
Why is it still an issue when we knew that was a questionable part in the Chrysler Pacifica hybrid before the 4xe ever came out? They were having a higher failure rate.
Yes.
And it's the same part. And the other manufacturers, I think, is it Jaguar or Jaguar, depending on what part of the world you're saying that in. They've had issues in their EV, and I can't remember who else is using that same part. They've had issues.
Yep.
And my Jeep is soon to be, 6 years old? What? Yeah. And why are we still having that issue?
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Again, maybe hopefully we'll see it moving forward. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, just talking about, the diminishing prices. Obviously, we've covered that topic. There's another one.
70. Is that a Grand Cherokee or a Wrangler? Oh my gosh.
And this is what I talked about. Like sure, I'm still making payments on because I leased it, but also on the flip side, like I know come December 7th, 2026, that I walk away from it and I'm not out of pocket. I do feel, bad for those who, and then if you're going to keep it long term, again, buying no car are you buying an appreciating asset, but them depreciating a little slower. And let's be realistic too. The Wrangler was always the number one resell, whole value. Back up. The Wrangler was always the number one car for holding its resale value.
Yeah.
And that is not the case as of late,
Hey, Just for comparison, I had a 2023 Chrysler 300C, the last of the Hemi Chryslers,
Yep.
and I never drove it. That was my baby.
I
I
remember
just
when you
figured,
got
hey, I was
that
paying
one.
$1,200 a month for that car. I'm getting rid of it. I got rid of it. I lost 10 grand, and I only had it for a year. 10 grand, and that was a Hemi car. So that just tells
Right.
you in general cars.
Supposed to be right. No, and you're right. And this is these drops in prices aren't just specific to Stellantis. I mean, the car market in general is soft, and then add this issue, it's compounding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder how much of that is reverberating from COVID. Like, is the market doing its adjustments? And I don't know.
I think the COVID wave is over. Personally, I think we're dealing with other financial issues at this point.
Well, part of it is everything went up in price, right?
Yeah.
Everything did.
Your average car now is $50-some thousand.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I was at the Ram backgrounder for the Hemi return, right? And Tim Kaniskis had a really interesting question asked to him. Some guy goes, "Hey, why can't you give
40
us
grand, right?"
Yeah, he goes, "Why can't you give us a truck that's under 40 grand? Like just steel wheels, no power windows, just roll up windows." And Tim kind of laughed and he goes, "The whole point," he goes, "I could do that." He goes, "I could strip everything out of these trucks." And he goes, "I would save you 2 grand." He goes, "A lot of it has to do with government and all that stuff." And he goes, "And the other thing is too," and he told me this to my face. He goes, "The other thing is people don't realize the cost of the UAW members went up. Everything went up in the last few years." He goes, "We're in a business to make money." He goes, "We're not into it to lose money." And he goes, "Unfortunately for you as the customer, you're picking that tab up." So
Yep. And this comment, I mean, we're all on the same page, right? You know, 21, 22, 23 didn't get over the air updates. You know, so that's actually a valid point when we're talking about, you know, was this to fix the battery issue? Why did this only hit really 24s and newer? You know, I don't know. So,
I think there's a hardware difference. I think something changed.
Oh, maybe that's it, right?
I wonder if they could even do that same update on the 21s through 23s.
You're probably right, because that Uconnect 5 came in 24.
Yeah.
I mean, this is true, right?
Anything's a smoke machine if you use it wrong enough too.
So I talked about this in one of my videos. The last dealer. So I'm assuming he's talking about the B9A or the previous fire recall. We talked about this to nauseum on both of our channels, I know. And I brought this up in one of my videos, and I kind of said, like, so we go into detail, and it's, you know, 2 sleep cycles, and the first one had 2 sleep cycles with 3-hour intervals, right? And then they had to reprogram. And then the second time the battery fire issue came around, it was a drive cycle. You had to drive it for a certain amount of miles, and then you had to hit certain speeds and come and step down at certain speeds. But the one with 2 sleep cycles, people are like, "Oh, I took my Jeep and I was in and out of there in 15 minutes." Well, you couldn't have been if you followed the directions of the, you know. So anyway, without going into weeds on that, one of my questions was, could the failure of doing these recalls properly be the reason that the new software didn't catch these latest fires? I don't know. I don't think so, but it certainly came up in my head, you know, because
and I think with like the ones with the drive cycle, I don't think it really mattered as much as we thought it would, because people were throwing the code 50 miles later.
Right. I agree.
So that little 10-mile drive isn't going to, or it wasn't even 10 mile. I've been told by somebody that I trust, that is a good Jeep technician, that you could really do that test in about a mile. So it didn't have to be a lot of distance.
100%. In fact, I watched it happen in the Jeep. I was videoing it. It happened in under a mile.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's a moot point, that because all that was going to do was catch the really bad ones.
I think you're right.
It wasn't going to catch the ones that were close.
Software.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the software loaded. Yeah.
Let's not get back into form, but I disagree with this comment. I live in a place with sub-zero temperatures, Chicago, and I have not had form.
There is something weird, to his point. My Jeep, when I get in around between 8 and 9 degrees Fahrenheit, I don't know what that is Celsius. I can't talk Canadian that quick, but when it gets in that range, it goes into electric mode temporarily unavailable, not the cabin and cooling and heating message, just EMTU. And from what my conversations with one of the engineers, EMTU is the normal expected message you will get during that time. But some people, their Jeeps dropped right into form.
Yeah, see, I got the
And
EMTU as well. I never got form.
it displays form, but I think there's a software issue there. I think there's an operational inconsistency of some sort, that some Jeeps display form when it's actually EMTU, and then people are out driving around trying to clear form and going filling up with gas when they're probably actually, it's supposed to be 5 degrees Fahrenheit, negative 15 Celsius. But I think, there's some inconsistencies there. Not everybody can get down to that temperature range. And I think some people are dropping into EMTU, but it's displaying form. So I think that's a software issue of some sort. And I think that's what leads to a lot of misunderstandings.
So Amy commented she saw the 10-month pull ahead as well.
Pull ahead.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, to be fair, a pull ahead is not a terribly uncommon thing to see in leases. I've seen that before. So if that's the case, I've got 2 more months to go. Listen, I get it. The risk is this big, right? And I'm actually less concerned about the fire risk because I don't know. So my daughter turned 16 in December, and this 4xe is supposed to be hers for the remainder of the lease. And I'm not going to lie, my bigger concern is like lack of motive power. If she was making a left-hand turn, would she know what to do? I'm questioning on if this is the right vehicle to put my 16-year-old daughter in right now. And, sure, I get it. My risk is this big, right? But if something happened, I'd never forgive myself knowing what I knew. I don't know.
Right.
I got to do some figuring. But we're going to skip ahead. Some of these are kind of redundant. Samsung, it's kind of funny. Samsung would have learned from the Note 7.
Yes.
Shots fired.
Yep.
This one, again, giving it positive. I agree. It's a great platform, and we've talked about it. Robert, much like you, I was anti-EV, right? I love burning gas. I mean, again, TRX, there's nothing better about pushing that red button and hearing the rumble. But and like you too. So I also I took a Dodge EV Charger as a demo for a month or so. And it was interesting because, like you said, everyone hates it. Everyone hates it online. But man, in person, it is completely opposite. Everyone comes out to see it. Everyone, even the fake exhaust noise, people are like, oh, that was actually kind of cool. I'm on the fence on that one.
Awesome.
But at any rate, like, it's not hated like it is online. And that's also the problem with the internet is keyboard warriors. You can do this with a J-scan, right? You've got one of those, Chris. You can check your state of health with a J-scan tool.
Yep.
Yeah, that you can do. Yep.
And not all, you can't take it to AutoZone and get that. Like, you have to have software specific to the 4xe to get that.
Jackie, I don't know of any. It's not the charging that causes the fires. It's being charged. It's the percent of charge. So level 1, level 2 is not, it's people are like, oh, I'll just charge level 1 because it's safer. That's not the case. It's the more charge you have, the more risk you have for that fire failure.
Energy is energy.
I think I read somewhere that they are going to have to replace some of these engines based on this sand situation. So, Robert, do you know why is this only the 4xe motors? Is it because
I don't know off the top of my head.
Some of the casting, maybe, because there are some different provisions on the 4xe, but at the end of the day, it's really the same block as the 2.0. I just find it interesting.
Correct.
that this.
I don't know. I don't know
Okay.
off the top of my head.
No, all good. In my head, or maybe
like for example, you guys were talking about the new like Grand Wagoneer Reeve, the range extender. Like the Pentastar in that is different a little bit. It's actually running in I can't remember if it's
designed to run
cycle
at
or Miller cycle.
RPM, right? Like a
yeah.
cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different, but not on the. I don't believe so on the GME T4s.
Yeah, I don't think so as well. Making light of the situation by renaming Sparky. I mean, you gotta laugh. I don't know what to tell you. You know,
I've never named my Jeep, but I've been calling it the struggle bus here lately.
do you guys think there's a chance? I mean, there's always a chance. But right now, I'm going to tell you, I don't think so. I've heard confirmation that there is a second gen coming. Scott, you Robert, you probably could say the same, but
yeah, there's a second gen coming. It's not like unknown and not nothing we can't talk about. I was told by Mickey Bly, who's the senior vice president of propulsion systems, that if you go on my YouTube channel, there's a whole video about the Hurricane 4. It's a whole presentation. I was one of like 9 journalists that got to go and see the new Hurricane 4 being built. And he basically told us that this application is going to be in hybrid, it's going to be in everything. And that includes the 4xe stuff.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Mickey seems like a good guy.
This one, I think we can all agree on. Unfortunately, it's probably just a bunch of people on phones trying to appease people. And I think it leaves a worse taste in your mouth than if they didn't engage.
Have you heard the people saying they can hear chickens in the background when they called you?
I have not heard that.
I've heard multiple people say that, like wherever they are, there's chickens. So.
It's bad enough that enough people have to call and have picked that up.
Yes.
Let's see what we got here. Such a perfect platform. Wife, yeah, I mean it is. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It fits so many things. How many 4x issues are out of states? Out of curiosity. I'm sure it's beyond a U.S. issue. In fact, I know there's somebody on my YouTube channel who is in another country, and they won't even support the recall there. It was imported or whatever the case. I guess that doesn't. So
yeah,
that doesn't
from what I hear,
solve
people
question, but
importing. I would never take a vehicle out of the country. I mean,
No.
to bring one in, it's just there's no warranty support.
yeah, no.
And
I mean,
I
for
know
that
it's
matter, even if you bought a vehicle, like if you buy a vehicle at an auction and it comes out of Canada, it could be a brand new 2025 vehicle with 500 miles on it, and someone sold it, traded it in, and it came out of Canada, no warranty. That's just
And I know it's hit the German media. I know at least that much.
All right, so I'm going to agree and disagree on this comment. Here's the problem: is that not all dealers are tech savvy. Fine, that's the first statement. But where I'm going to defend the dealers is, you guys, the information that I put out and Chris puts out, we put this stuff out on our YouTube and our 4xe forums before the dealers even know it. Jeep puts this stuff out. You as a consumer, because of the internet and because of all of these platforms, you likely know about these failures before Jeep does. And a perfect example is the over-the-air update. Mine was dead in my driveway. I called the director of a service department at the dealership that I'm connected with, and I said, hey, just so you know, this is going to be a problem today. You're going to get some vehicles towed in, on and on. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm sure it's fine. Well, I made my way to the dealership that Saturday morning. You can watch my video, and it was like a parade of tow trucks. And they're like, you weren't kidding. So they're asking me, what do you do? And I guided them through the whole thing from what I learned online and from what I followed and everything else. It wasn't till 3 days later that Jeep says, hey, by the way, we had an over-the-air update, and it wasn't good. And so the communication from Jeep to their dealerships isn't what you would expect. Everyone would expect that the dealerships is going to know before we know, and it's just not the case. It's just not. So don't grenade your dealer over some of this stuff,
Plus those guys are all trying to keep up with 4 different lines of vehicles, 4 different manufacturers.
So to your point, I saw this comment once on a bikini color, the blue bikini color, and someone took their Jeep in, and obviously they know the color is bikini, right? Because they own it. And on the tag where they wrote on their key tag, it said blue. And the customer's like, can you believe they called it blue and not bikini? I'm like, they got to know great or Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and then all the models within, and you're complaining they don't know what color it is. I'm like, okay, give these guys a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm digging through some old notes, like really old notes. And I'm going through like what's the difference between the the 4xe 2-liter and the GME-T4, the standard one. And what I came up with, and I don't know how accurate this is because these notes are from like a long time ago and they're pen scratched. It says that the difference is the cylinder heads are different. So that's where it says about the sand being cast in the process. It could be the cylinder heads.
So the cylinder head's different on a 4xe is what you're saying?
That's what it says in my notes from a long, long time ago.
Well, I mean, that would be the smoking gun because nothing else makes sense, right? You know? Chris, this message is for you. I don't know if that makes sense to you. Maybe something through AT&T.
Oh, see, I'm not in Ram. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, what's he talking about? I'm in what's called Mitso operations, so I'm pretty ignorant about RAN engineering, but yeah, I've heard stories. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, here's another one. First time Jeep buyer. I love my 4xe. All I'll say is I mean, as a Jeep enthusiast, don't let this thing get you down. Here's one thing I've always said on every one of my videos is no brand is immune from these things, right?
No.
Toyota just recalled how many 100,000s? I mean, Honda's had recalls. You know, we live and breathe this stuff, and unfortunately, you know, we had like a hat trick of recalls here, but you're gonna jump ship to another brand, and no, you're not immune from this kind of stuff. So it'll get sorted out. I've never seen an update. Jeep have been told these. I mean
what year is it though?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's true. It could be a 21 or 22. You wouldn't have it, or even 23. That's going to depend on what year the vehicle is. All I'm going to say is just keep checking the page for open recalls. You know, we could all go to Jeep headquarters, and now that'd be kind of funny. Just all of us get a big conga line of 4BEs and head to the dealer. Okay, so this reminds me of something, and this is going to be a little bit of a shameless plug, so I apologize. But all right, so I run this group. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's called Jeeps on the Run, and we're 13 years in. We run this Toys for Tots event. We've donated $3 million to Toys for Tots. It's incredible. In this event, we pack in 500 Jeeps to the dealership, and we have this convoy. We go and we have this after party, and as part of it, you can win a Jeep Gladiator. You can check all the details out at jeepsontherun.com. If you scan the code up there, you can get your tickets to win the Jeep Gladiator. If you want to join the event, jeepsontherun.com as well, and you can join. Where am I going with this? So I was joking with someone the other day. I said, I wonder if I should flag every Jeep that comes in of the 500 vehicles that are 4xEs, and maybe we should have their own separate parking spot in this mix of 500 Jeeps. And then I kind of half was joking with someone else. I said, man, it would be horrible if actually one of these 4xEs, there was a catastrophic failure during this event, because it would be really bad PR. Again, I know that we're less than 1%, but no less, we had this conversation like, do I park all these 4xEs in a specific spot? But at any rate, if you're in the Chicagoland area, we definitely fill up the 500 Jeeps. It's something to check out. Check out jeepsontherun.com, and you can join the event. It's a blast. So I'll off my shameless plug. Sorry.
Well, Eric asked a hard question.
What do you got?
He said, Chris, will you sell your 4xE if they don't fix the battery issue before you hit the 100,000? I don't know, man.
It's a tough one.
That question has, I mean, I have to be honest about that. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to.
It's a fair answer. I don't want to.
Yeah.
Lewis, Chris and I talk about this. We've talked another one till nauseum. The dealers were not informed, right? MPGE. We could spend our 2 hours on that, but again, I don't blame necessarily the dealers 100% on not understanding that, because even Jeep pushes out this 49 MPGE, which again, in all reality, 49 mpge is actually really bad in that set of standards, but everyone thinks that's 49 miles per gallon, and they're going to buy this Wrangler. And
It doesn't help that Jeep markets that stinking
that's what I'm
number.
saying, right? It's on their marketing
I mean,
too. Yeah.
and it doesn't matter that some major publications, other ones other than the Mopar Insider, ran articles that said a Jeep Wrangler that gets Prius-like MPGs. And I wrote the guy, I said, there's a big difference between MPG and MPGE.
Yep.
And he argued back. We exchanged emails a few times. I finally finished. I said, do you know what kind of awards Jeep would be winning if they could get 49 miles a gallon out of a Jeep Wrangler? And he finally agreed, what I was saying. He finally understood, never changed the article. And this is, I won't say who it was, but it rhymes with far and higher there.
All right, so here's another one and we've talked about this. This one exactly, like the collateral damage, I think, is unmeasurable, right? We've talked about even things with the haters, and you have people that come on, and I'm sure Chris, you have it, but I battle it daily. You have people that come on these 4xe forums, don't own one, don't plan on owning one, and they just come on because they have nothing better to do and talk trash, and it's because of what they read. But again, keeping your people, these are the people that made Jeep what it is, and I don't know, you're not making them happy. And again, I kind of use the analogy at one point, like, when you lose trust in your kids, it takes a long time to gain that back, right? They do something, you lose that trust. Like, it's kind of the same thing. At this point, yeah, I mean, unless you lease, I don't know, right? Just wait. I don't know what the answer is,
and how long do you wait? I mean,
right.
what?
Well, some of us don't have a choice, right? Some of us, like, I'm locked into a lease. I don't have a choice. You don't want to sell your, I don't hear for that matter. I don't want to sell mine. I will say when my lease is up, I'm not 100% sure I'll jump back into another one right away. It depends what a year from now, a million things will have changed, right? But for someone that's in this situation, a year is an eternity, you know? So, yeah. And here's, this is it too, right? Same sort of thing we talked about, right? We're stuck, and like I said, they can't trade it. So your trade value comes down.
And Jeep could do so much just by a little transparency.
It wouldn't take much, and it would be free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's interesting. Some of these 4xes are, I mean, granted, they're not all 70 grand, but if you really look at what you get for a 4xe, and then you take that same amount and you go look, you're like, yeah, I could buy a full size pickup truck. I could go next, the dealership I'm connected with has a Chevy dealership next door. You go by next door and buy a full size Silverado 1500 or even a Ram for same money as what these things are,
And the price increase versus when I bought mine, honestly, I would not pay what they're asking for them now. I mean, my wife and I we just don't buy vehicles that are this expensive.
Yeah.
And it already pushed my comfort level.
Yeah. Well, this one's kind of funny. I don't know if I'll take blame or not, but I did research with you guys. I blame both you guys for being in this situation.
It's funny. I actually recorded a video last week and I deleted it. I never uploaded it, where I expressed, and I'll just express it here. I expressed my regret over being such a fan. And people have told me I bought my Jeep because of you. And I mean, I've off-roaded with people that said, I bought my Jeep and like they bought the same thing I bought. And I feel bad, but then one of the admins of our group said, Chris, you didn't know about all this when this started. You didn't know. So that's not on you. So I appreciated her words. That was nice.
Yeah. No, and it is what it is. But this one, so I'm sharing this one because we've all probably had this vehicle in our life that was like your favorite vehicle, like the one that got away. For me, I was just out of college. It was like 2001, and I remember in '98 this Grand Cherokee 5.9 Limited came out, and I was drooling over it. And just out of college, I actually bought one, and I found it in the newspaper, and it just said 1998 Jeep Grand Cherokee white, and I'm like, my odds are fairly good here, but the guy had no idea what he had. In fact, the guy I bought it from was a hockey player for. I lived in Florida at the time. He was a hockey player for Florida Lightning. And this thing still had the plastic on the floor, had like 8,000 miles on it. It was absolutely beautiful. And that was, for me, that was the one that got away. I sold that one. And to this day, like that was by far one of my favorite vehicles. And they still, I think, look nice for what they are. But man, that Grand Cherokee was awesome.
I had an 81 Scrambler. That was mine.
That was yours?
Yeah.
Robert, what was yours that got away?
I don't know. I got rid of mine for a reason, but I absolutely loved my 2014 Dodge Charger RT Hemi all-wheel drive car.
Okay.
That was my baby.
That was awesome.
We stopped charging, parked outside, but what about 78C? What is your level of anxiety with the sand? I don't know. I don't think that's going to be like you're driving along, and then all of a sudden you come to a screeching halt. I think if you pay attention, I think you're going to hear knocking. I think the engine's it's going to cause some damage internally that you're going to be like, what's going on, before this thing just were to self-destruct. I don't know that for a fact. That's just my guess. I can't imagine, like, unless some big pocket of sand drops out of somewhere and, the thing locks up. I guess I'm not overly concerned about that 78C as far as like from a dangerous standpoint, if that makes any sense. Because I think you're going to have, I think you're going to have some heads up that there's a problem before there's a problem.
It's not
Maybe
like
I'm wrong.
Not like the pistons are pointed at the driver's seat.
Yeah, right.
According to the recall, it says customers may experience a knocking noise from the engine compartment and or a malfunction indicator lamp prior to catastrophic failure.
Right. So you're going to, now how fast does that happen? Because is it 30 seconds? It probably depends on all your variables, but I don't know.
If you ever throw a rod in an engine, you know what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. And
it's like you drop a wrench in the carburetor and just imagine that just
right. You're going to know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my take anyway. Take that for what it's worth. My comment about the last flash not done right and allowed for Jeep fires may be onto something. Do you think the new Flash 95B was just an easier way to load the flash and test? I thought about that, right? The first one that required these sleep cycles that I think they were doing, right? You had to charge it, then you had to sleep it. And let's be realistic here, and I'm not these mechanics have 6 or 7 hours worth of time into this car. Now, get it. They're not sitting there over the car for the 6 hours, but they got to pull it in. Then they got to charge it. Then they got to sleep cycle it. Then they wait 3 hours. So this car is in their bay for 3 hours, can't touch it, can't open the doors, can't do anything. Then you got to do it again. So these guys are juggling these cars into their bay to get paid for probably an hour worth of work when they're juggling this thing around for 6 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not making excuses, but if you were getting paid by the hour, but having this inconvenience. So to that point, I did always wonder, like, did this second one come around? And then it also made sure that, like, so these guys had to have hotspots on their phones connected to YTech while they're on the road. So it automatically communicated back to the system at Stellantis to give them the green check. So was that Stellantis's way of saying, all right, this has actually been done properly? So was it the same software that was loaded, just making sure it was loaded right? I don't know that we'll ever know, but that definitely has crossed my mind. I'm not going to lie.
I think there was a difference because they added that shutdown component to the software that it didn't have before. Like it'll kind of like go into limp mode and run on the gas engine alone.
Yeah.
I don't think that would happen with the first one. It would just
the first one you didn't even have to drive it.
Yeah.
Right. The first one you didn't have to drive it.
Yeah.
Let's see this one. Yeah, I mean, I actually had someone reach out to me through my forum, and she said her neighbors. This isn't the same person. Must live like in a townhouse community or something, and her neighbors are
Sure.
like, can you not park your vehicle here? We're reading about your fires and stuff. I mean, I saw somewhere else, and I think he's probably go ahead, Chris, because you're probably gonna say what I'm gonna
Well,
say.
I had somebody from Italy comment on one of my videos, and he's like, the United States, you've got all this room because I've got like 100-foot driveway, and he's like, we don't have that kind of room in Italy. So
Yeah. It's, and then there was another one. I just saw it today. It was something else about not being able to park. Obviously, parking garage. We've seen that before, but thank you guys so much for getting together. The only reason I know about this forum, both of our shows, are kind of announcements from Jeeps and Shelves. So yeah, I've heard that countless times. Like, in fact, I put a recall up on my channel, and I got called out that said this guy's an idiot. He has no idea what he's talking about. This recall is a year old. This guy's a clown. And then, 4 days later, here it comes, so whatever. But
I don't divulge my source, but it came from a dealership, and a guy that I really trust that
and I'm like,
always gives me the right information.
And you and I, Chris, we even talked that morning, and I'm like, unless your dealership got hacked like my dealership got hacked, this is real information,
Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
One of my buddies, Jordan Rose, who is Mopar Tech Jordan on here on YouTube, he does all the PDI for like electric vehicles and 4xe stuff. He said he'll come on here and answer some of your guys' tech questions.
Yeah.
If you got time.
If he's allowed to.
So
let's see. He said he's going to try to get his computer booted up. I'll see if I can get him on here.
That link I sent you?
Yeah, just send it to him.
I think it's the same link. Just send it to him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we wearing anybody out? We've been at it 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go sooner than later. I got a pack. I'm going to LA tomorrow at some point.
I like how he rubs that in. Of course, Robert's probably going there too.
This was such a random thing, and it actually turned out where I'm like, my son's gonna join me, so it's gonna be kind of cool. But I'm excited to see it. As he's getting logged on, we'll see what we've got. I haven't heard this one. Is it true they're going to be outlawing several vehicles in 2026, imposing huge fines? I assume that's supposed to be not to be able to register them having towed on site if they're on the road. I haven't heard anything like that, but I would imagine that would be more of a state or city thing than anything else. To be fair, mine is Bikini Pearl. I would have expected anyone to remember the name, but the teal color is way more green than blue. All right, fine. Yeah.
Well, how about that Earl Grey? It's not gray.
Yeah, no.
It's like a weird green. I mean,
love my 4xe. Jeff, I think this is a response to the one that didn't get over the air updates. This was 2024.
It seems like there are some early 2024s that didn't, if I remember right.
Mine's pretty early too, so I don't know. I did a post on my page asking for build dates, and they were all over the place for 24s. I think there's still a market for 4xe. I will say I think we could all agree that the lack of the $7,500 definitely hurts the 4xe, like it hurts any of these EV cars right now. But and here is a great follow-up to that, because there's a lot of people, this is why they bought a 4xe, right? Is for the fact that the extra power, so
well, the whole benefit about the 4xe is most people live within 10-12 miles of their work. You can plug it in at home and drive it to work on electric power. That's the benefit of it. That was the big selling point. And the added power. 375 horsepower is no joke.
I may have missed a question. He says I dodged his question. I mean, we passed over some, but I'm not sure. I have my dealer texting me every day to buy a 24 4xe. Should I go trade in for ICE? It's paid off too. I guess that's up to you on how much. I mean, I get it's paid off, so you're not upside down. So kudos there, but that depends on how much of a hit you want to take. Or, I mean, unless you really want out of it, I think you're better off holding on to it. I think the values might go up once the recalls are fixed. But I think, like Chris said, they're not going to skyrocket. I think that's more of a personal question. I guess I don't know. I still like my 4xe. I don't know. I'm sticking with it for a while. I don't know. You guys can
surprised there's still a dealer chasing any 4xe down.
Yeah, unless
he's not chasing. I don't know if he's chasing the 4xe or chasing the new sale.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the new sale. It could be one of those automated. Hey, I see you have your RAM still. Are you interested? It's an automated kind of thing. So, I guess
they get that in their stock. They can't do anything with it.
Yeah, no. The question would be is, what's it worth to them and what's it worth to you?
Mm-hmm.
So in regards to techs juggling repairs, I thought most of the techs get flat rate pay. That's not true. Every dealer is a little different. And so depending on these recalls, they pay whatever. Let's call it an hour, So for every recall they do, they get paid 1 hour to do the recall, even though, it's, again, they're not getting paid for these sleep cycles and stuff like that. So that's where the hurdles are.
It's not what the tech's getting paid. It's what the dealership's getting compensated. That might be where that question comes from.
Yeah, that could be fair.
Dealers only, yeah.
And how the dealerships pay their techs, they're all different, I'm sure, too.
They're all different.
No less. These guys, at the end of the day, these guys really aren't getting paid for the juggling around and for when these things are on sleep cycles and then it's jammed up into their bay for 6 hours and that kind of stuff, So, yeah, we talked about this, living in a condo.
Mm-hmm.
After the update flash, EV drive power weakens and forces ICE to turn on like a dead pedal.
That sounds like a low state of health.
Yep, I would say that sounds like a bad battery.
Or it's getting ready to make sure you have all of your past recalls done.
Here's a question for you, Robert.
Once the new Hemi comes out for the new Charger, will you trade in? Well, they haven't said nothing but a Hemi yet. But the only thing that's held me back about, I love my Daytona, and a lot of people give me grief about it. But the only thing that really turns me off about the whole EV thing is the infrastructure here in Detroit. You think in Detroit, with the big three pushing all this EV stuff, we would have a great infrastructure? We don't. The other thing is our governor just upped the plates for us to have EVs. So my plates went from $150 a year with my 300C to $300 a year for my Charger. And now my birthday's in January, and January 1st, they're going up to $400.
Yikes.
Yeah. So you can see they kind of penalize you for having an EV. So it makes you think, I love the fact I don't have to have oil changes. The car is pretty flawless, but do I want to pay all this extra fees and penalties for having an EV? So, but I like the ICE model. It's fun. It's different, but I still like my Daytona.
Sounds like I'll have a rainy trip. That sucks. Thank you for this. Those comments are always helpful because I know, like you, Chris, I put a lot of time into this, and we're both passionate. That's for sure. All of us here are. Obviously, that's why we're here.
Yep.
All right. Mopar Tech Jordan. Let's add Jordan to the stage. Jordan, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, my camera's being a little.
You're good.
Now he's gone. I bet he clicked the wrong button.
Hang on.
Yeah, because they stopped producing them, but kept selling them for that little short period, which that's a little questionable to me. But this person bought one, and I bet they bought it right after they stopped producing them.
Yeah.
At least the dealer's undoing the sale.
My anxiety has minimized. I mean, that's at the end of the day, we talk about this stuff, and someone made the comment to me like, you did this video and you acted like the sky is falling out. Well, not really. I acted disappointed when I learned that we had a software fix for a hardware issue, right? But at the end of the day, you know, and we've said it all the time, like you pick an automotive brand and tell me one that doesn't have a recall, right? Pick something. There isn't one. You know, everyone says, oh, you know, like what's the saying? Like, oh, that's the Cadillac of something, means it's good, right?
All right.
I had a Cadillac Escalade. Give me my 4xe any day over my Escalade. I hated that thing. I could not.
Mike, is that you, Mike?
Yep, you there?
Yeah. So I'm guessing. Have you seen what the list price is on the 4xe battery? Well, they just dropped it to.
Well, we were talking about this earlier. We've said anything from $500 to $18,000.
It's $322 is the dealer list price for the battery. It just got dropped Monday morning. So I got a feeling it's just going to be like the last recall where we'll do the software update. We'll go around, but this one is more than likely going to have a high fail tolerance. So I think they're gearing up to start replacing a lot of battery packs.
So it's interesting you say that, because I was going to ask, will this new software be the same but increase the fail tolerance?
We think this was. I mean, they're going to do everything they can to save money, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, the battery pack being that cheap, it's not the end of the world for them. I mean, when we got that many affected, it'll add up quickly. But I got a good feeling that we're going to be replacing way more than we did the last time.
I think they're hiding something in that price. I think there's something on the books. There's no way that battery can be $320.
Well, if you think about how cheaply they probably are made, I'll give you an example. On the Dodge Journey, there's a headlight recall because moisture gets inside the headlights. So the dealer cost for both headlights, the recall price is only about $25 for two headlights. Yeah. But we turn around and we charge our customers $400 or $500 for the set.
Right.
And it's just how Stellantis operates. They're getting these things it just proves how cheap the vehicles are produced.
Or
because they have the ability to do that.
They're doing something on the books to hide that or something. Or to make it less of an impact on the books.
I'm kind of with you. Like, they know something's coming, so let's set it up. And $300 and some, shit, let's go buy one and see what the hell happens. You know,
you'll never have to, because they're going to be under warranty indefinitely. You know, they're going to extend the warranty. You guys, no one will ever have to buy one customer pay.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty rare if that happens.
So here's another technical question. My answer to this has always been no. So when that battery is dead, it's not, you guys can correct me at any point. That battery is dead on the dash. It's never actually technically dead, right? So you do not lose horsepower from the electric side of the power.
What do they mean by dead? Do they mean like one that has thrown a code?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Do you mean dead is not charged, or one is dead as in like it needs to be replaced? If you mean
dead is in not charged, like if you're reading a 0% charge, so that transmission doesn't have a reverse. It uses the P2 motor for its reverse. So it will always have a reserve amount of power. And then they usually say it's probably about another 15 to 20% is always in reserve that the customer never sees.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd be wondering what they mean by dead, because I've always said it's always a hybrid. You can never drive it and not be a hybrid. But with that last update, the last recall, they included something that will kind of shut down the system around that hybrid battery, at least to let you get somewhere.
Yeah, that over-the-air update that we had, for some reason, it crashed we call it the telematics gateway module, and the security gateway module. It crashed that system. And I don't know if you guys saw. I mean, they immediately released the TSB for the technicians, telling us what to do. Then they said they announced a recall, and then that stuff just completely went away.
Well, by immediately, you mean 3 days later.
Yeah, 3 days. Well, that's pretty quick in Stellantis terms. You know, slow as they move.
But now when you got people with dead vehicles on the side of the road, you know, having no idea what to do, 3 days is a long time.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I have the Charger Daytona, you know, so I'm used to it now of it taking months and months for a fix to come out the customers need.
Yeah. Someone welcomed you. Welcome, Jordan. This one's funny. We'll keep it light. My first car was a Ford Pinto. I ain't scared. Actually funny.
Yeah. And you had to be a certain age to get that, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm aging myself, I'm sure. I mean, this is the same thing, we've talked about. They need to make it right. This obviously $300. That seems cheap. We all agree with that. So when we talked about the dead battery, Was that?
I bet if you went into that Mopar website and said add to cart and tried to order that battery, that's not going to happen for $300.
Oh no, yeah, definitely not. Like the recall pricing, their internal pricing structure is completely different than what's offered to the customer.
Yeah.
I guess the same thing goes for labor too. I can tell you because I just did a 4xe battery, which is pretty funny. I had one with a cell imbalance. I just put the battery in this morning. A Samsung battery. I just threw in this thing, and it still has the recall. It's still asked not to drive nor not to charge. But the labor time on that is 2.7 hours. So they're paying their technicians whatever the technician's labor rate is, 2.7 hours. So the cost for the part and installation isn't that much to them.
So two things. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, I think you're going to say what I was going to say. Go ahead.
Two things is I'm seeing comments saying, "Hey, just got a new battery. I'm good." No, you're not good because it's the same battery sitting on the shelves as there has been. I read that up till October 15th, Jeeps even had these bad batteries. So if you're in your dealership now getting a new battery, you're still under that recall, in my opinion. And then the other thing is I've also one of the techs at the dealership, and this is where those guys can make money is because when they're good, he's got it down pat to take a battery out and back in 45 minutes. So wow, yeah, they got a pretty good system to do it. But again,
it's not a bad procedure. It's not very hard. It's
not. I've watched them do it. Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it probably the coolant and all that stuff is a lot of the time consuming. When we talked about earlier, he meant as in not charged. So yeah, back to that comment. When that battery is not charged, there's still about a 15% reserve. So you're really never at a loss of power, regardless if you're charged or not.
Yeah.
And then this one, the current 4xe battery, as far as we know, there's no, if you get a new battery today, it's the same flaws. Now I did hear, and I don't know if this is true, that and I don't remember where I even heard this, but someone told me that they have canceled their relationship with Samsung. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I mean, that's what I've heard as a technician, but again, it all comes down to money. It'll be depending on who can provide the cheapest battery the fastest. So if Samsung can, get their stuff together, I'm sure they would stick with them. But I've also heard that same rumor. But it's all about the money.
There's been a lot of people that thought when they got the last recall done and it triggered a replacement battery, there were a lot of people that thought, well, that recall fixed my battery issue. And they're just coming to learn that no, that's not the case at all. That recall was not to replace the battery. Now it happened on your case, but that was not what the point was. And a lot of people think, oh, I got my battery replaced on the last recall. I'm not on this recall. Yes, you are.
Right.
Yep. So that recall was more or less a stress test. We added some software, and it gave us the ability to charge the battery, and we would take it out, put it under some stress, and that would basically confirm or deny whether there's a fault inside the battery. My experience with that is I've done quite a bit of those, and that test has only failed once or twice of probably the 100 times I've done it.
Yeah.
And to your point, maybe this new software will be a little more
trigger happy. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, right. And so I think we kind of answer this question that's on the screen. The new batteries are part of this recall because, well, in theory, there's really nothing new about them, right?
Yeah. Same battery, same design, same chemistry, same manufacturer.
Yeah, right. $300, but is it still the same battery, the same problems? I would assume at this point. Yeah.
Yep.
25 Grand Cherokee 4xe. Can the updates be done over the air or at the dealer? That depends on what the updates are, right? Some of those, like this recall, I don't think is going to be an over-the-air update. I think that's going to be something that's going to have to be loaded through the dealership.
I don't think Jeep's going to be messing with that old OTA stuff for a while.
I agree.
Pretty much the only thing that will ever be over the air in the future, for the next foreseeable future, will be anything related to Uconnect. Now, this last over the air update was only supposed to be for Uconnect, but somehow it corrupted the security system, and that's what messed everything up. But I would tell any customer that if they think it's anything other than a radio, they're probably going to have to come to the dealership for an update.
Mm-hmm. Which was Jeep's policy for years.
Here's a question for you, Jordan. Do you think if these fail and you new battery after the recall, would be updates to the replacement battery? well, yeah, I would definitely think there's going to be a new battery.
Yeah, they're definitely changing something about it. Like I said, we can see the newest batch of batteries is cheap. From what I can see, it looks like the part number has changed one time. The last letter has changed, so something about it's different. It could be, it could be software preloaded into the battery or some minor change they've made in it.
Here's a nice compliment. You guys are great. Hope you keep making these videos. We did this one a year ago. We should do this more than every year. These have been pretty successful, and I like having you guys on. It's been, you guys, thanks for coming. It's been a great asset besides these guys just looking at Chris and I. And Brandon, I think it's Hainline.
Hainline.
Do you connect with him?
We chat every once in a while.
Yeah.
He got his Jeep.
Does he still have it?
Yeah.
Huh.
He really hit making some success on TikTok with non-Jeep related content, and
Yeah.
he ran where the money was, and I don't blame him a bit.
yeah. Enough of this headache, right?
He left his job at the dealership. I mean, he went all in on social media. He's a content creator, so
yeah. Oh, good for him. Here we go. I need to throw in a positive. I've had my 4x for a year. It's perfect. I've also been charging portable solar batteries for weeks long, running a mini grill. I wouldn't have known any. I'm not sure, kind of cut off, but
wouldn't have known they had any issues. Yeah.
You guys are better to represent than Jeep does. That's the sad part. We talked about that. I mean, someone made the comment that they should hire me, and I'm sure, Chris, you get the same stuff, but they hire me to be the liaison between Jeep and the customers, because this is the only way they find out about stuff. And again, Jordan, you probably could comment, and I made the comment earlier before you got on about how the poor dealers find out this stuff sometimes after the consumers do, and you guys get such a beat down of why don't you know this yet or that yet, and you guys aren't privy to really information any earlier. It's it kind of sucks.
It does get kind of frustrating. They leave us in the dark quite a bit, and we see stuff sometimes the same day the customer sees stuff. Yeah, and and it's I always try to explain to people how dealerships are franchises. We work with Stellantis. We don't necessarily we are them. Yeah. If people get real upset with the product and they get upset with their dealership, but in fact, they're the ones they should be mad at. Right. We're just doing the best with the information we have.
And I always get frustrated, and I know, we get surveyed to death, and the surveys are huge for the dealers, and I know that. But I saw a comment the other day on my page saying, like, my dealership has no idea what they're doing. 1-star review for them. I'm like, well, why did they not know what they're doing? Like, well, I can't fix my Jeep. This was when this over the air thing was. I'm like, there isn't even a fix. They don't even know about it yet. Like, cut them some slack, right? And that's where the communication between the dealer and the customer and the manufacturer is tough,
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen my YouTube page, because I focus heavy on the Charger Daytona and a little bit on the Wagoner S, because that's what I drive. But I'm trying, so whenever a TSB comes out for that vehicle, I make a video on it so kind of the customer can kind of see exactly what we see at the dealership. They know what we're doing for the fix. Other technicians and other dealerships can kind of utilize that information. And so, I think that's kind of what Jeep needs to step up and do. That's what Stellantis altogether needs to do. Kind of doing their job for them.
You got on, let them be a little more organic with their stuff,
But that's my plan. They actually reached out for me about the 4xe. So what I'm going to end up doing is the day the recall launches, I'm going to make a video kind of like I do with the Daytona, and I'm going to film the entire process of doing the recall at the dealership. Not really go behind the scenes of why we're doing it, but just to show customers exactly what happens when they show up.
Yeah, no, that's cool. True.
Hopefully that'll kind of ease some tensions. They'll know exactly what we're doing, what got done to their vehicle.
There's another. Thank you, sir. Good to know. At least I'm not losing all the perks of owning a 4xe. Again, I'd like to reiterate, you guys are awesome for being on top of this. I wouldn't have known. So yeah, I think that was in response to the, you're not losing the perks of having that dead battery. Ask Jim why Jeep keeps using parts that have been replaced, even though we all know they're a high rate of failure. Yeah, we can agree there. A Canuck winter coming up. When it gets crazy cold, Jeep pops up telling the plug in so the battery doesn't freeze. I wouldn't worry. You guys correct me, Jordan. I'll let you take that one. But if you're not using the battery, I think that's irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, it should have more than enough charge to keep everything happy and suffice in cold weather. That's what it's designed to do. But if you want to roll around just in EV mode, you do want to precondition that battery by having it plugged in.
Right, but right now in the with the chart where you want right, I guess to your point, plugging it in is more so you can benefit the EV mileage out of it.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, the 2 liter is going to kick on. You're always going to have that running, no matter the temperature. That should operate.
Well, what they're saying there is once it gets below -15 Celsius, it has a screen that comes up when you turn it off. It says, "Plug this thing in."
Right, to condition the battery. Mine has shown me that before.
There are some cases where the 4xe will start off of the P2 motor generator. And I think it has to be really cold for that to happen instead of using the P1.
Yep, you're correct.
Yeah, so I bet that's. I've always assumed that's why that message comes up. So you've got enough cold cranking amps basically to turn it over from the P2.
I learned something new. I didn't know that was the thing.
Has to be cold.
Let's see here. Let's see here. I asked Jeep how far I should park away from everything. They told me they don't have a procedure yet for parking. You guys could do this weekly and you'd get a good crowd. Weekly, that would be a lot, but maybe even monthly or something wouldn't be all bad.
We wouldn't try to cover so much ground in each one.
That's true. It wouldn't have to be 2.5 hours. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Stay tuned next week. Does this a chance of unlimited warranty? Batteries by age or warranty of 60 days?
I think Jeep has set us up. I hate to say this out loud. I think they have set us up well because a P0 BBD code is a safety issue. And it seems like all of them that get around that 78, 79% state of health throw a P0 BBD because it's having trouble balancing the cells. I have wondered if legally there is some precedent in the automotive industry that if it's a safety related issue, they have to fix it even if it's out of warranty. So this whole thing of us offering us this unlimited warranty may be marketing when they're actually legally going to have to. It's all speculation. I'm not a consumer advocate lawyer or anything, but
this one, I mean, we're dreaming on that one. There's no room for a bigger battery unless the battery is more efficient somehow and they can get some more kilowatt hours.
Solid state batteries.
Yeah, solid state. Yeah, for sure. But you guys are great. Appreciate the info. Really helps. Love my Jeep. Awesome. I appreciate the comments. This one, I mean, I'm sure there's a way. I don't know. I'm not touching that one. But,
I will. Can I share a story?
Yeah, let's hear it.
So when my first battery started, it was degrading, and I could tell it in the performance. You know how you just know, if I put my foot down this far, I know what I'm getting out of this vehicle. Once you get to know your vehicle,
100%. That game we talked about.
Yes, and I started knowing, I know my engine didn't start 6 months ago on this little incline. And I know when I put my foot down this far, I knew how far I could push it before I get that demand start threshold from electric to the gas engine kicking in. And I started seeing all these changes. I can't capture that. I can't quantify that in any way. I just know it's happening because I just know my Jeep. So I charged my Jeep up, and I'm running a GoPro in the back. And I was making a video so I could, when I went to the dealership to talk about this performance change, I could explain it and have video, as much quantifying data as I could get. So I drove it 22, 23 miles, came right home, plugged it in. It was a pretty warm day. And then went, because my camera didn't shoot. I thought it shot the first time, and I was getting all this, what I thought was good footage, and the camera wasn't running. So I plugged it right in and went back out and did the same drive again, and it triggered the check engine light for the cell imbalance, the P0 BBD. I think pushing it that hard, driving, coming home, plugging it in, not giving it any time to rest, cool down on a hot day, going right back out to it. I triggered that that code. So I'm not saying it's not impossible to plug it in, drive, plug it in, drive, plug it in, drive. You're stressing that battery by doing that. I did it inadvertently, but it made my argument at the dealership so much easier when I can say, hey, it's got this code. So
Yeah, definitely for that comment though, I would add that they are very smart.
Yeah.
Don't do anything to your vehicle that would warrant them looking into it, because they will look into it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
because they want to do everything they can to not pay for something.
Yeah.
This is a nice comment, Chris. Maybe we've got a new career path ahead of us.
How do we get paid for that?
Yeah. So this is two parts. So for one, Jeep did just announce that they are adopting NACS, but you also have to remember the 4xe can't support NACS even if it was a thing, because it's not a DC charger. So
it can support
good for future
level
Recon
2.
owners too.
Well, the full batteries will. So Jeep just announced again at 5 o'clock today that the Recon and all of the full batteries, the Wagoneer S's, they're going to be able to use Tesla chargers. But even so, that right? I mean, you guys, that doesn't support the 4xe platform.
I hate to say this, but I've been charging on Tesla chargers for a while.
Well, with the Magic charger,
Magic Dock, yeah, there's one near me. So
well, the Magic Dock's a little bit different, that of an animal.
Yeah.
But now you're going to have 30,000 chargers instead of 2,000. You know, so that's cool. But the 4xe won't handle that. And honestly, like the 4xe
They could
platform,
do,
in my opinion, doesn't lend itself to charging in the wild. Like level 2 charger at home is where you win. It doesn't make sense to. I mean, I guess if you're shopping at, for me, we have a Woodman's or whatever. You're shopping and you but to actually stop and find a charger on the 4xe platform, it doesn't make sense to go out of your way. It's my opinion.
it could do NACS just for destination charging.
That that you can do already now though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on a destination charger, you're right. You can do it.
They could change the jack, but it still wouldn't do DC fast charging.
Correct. It
It'd be
would do fast
pointless.
charging, yeah. This one's for Jordan. Jordan, what do you think the recall fix is going to be for that 78C?
You wanna hear this one?
Yeah.
Software. No, so I'm not too sure. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the JK. When the JK came out, when the Pentasar first released, we had a bad issue with casting sand, clogging heater cord and things.
I remember that.
So I have a feeling that they may come up with a procedure for us to do a complete engine flush on these things. And then we'll probably have a software in conjunction where we'll be able to run a couple tests in the bay, running up the temperature, and we'll be able to check a couple things. That's my theory on that, but I still haven't been able to see anything. But just judging by what they've done in the past, I think that's probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
Would
I
a catch
remember
can-
when those heater cores were getting clogged up, and man, that was a mess.
Would a
Yeah, so
catch
this
can-
isn't their first run in with casting sand, so I'm sure they've
Yeah.
got a plan.
I think the short answer to Scott is no. I mean, you can want all you want, but to Jordan's point earlier, right? Jeep knows, right? The data tells them if you don't meet this criteria or whatever the parameters are. I think the answer is no. But if the software puts it in place, and maybe now the new software is more stringent, maybe we'll learn in 20 miles. The answer might be yes when that check engine light comes back on. I don't know. You guys
Get
correct
a-
me from,
Get a J scan, watch your state of health, because it'll happen eventually.
Yeah, exactly. So the good news is you might get a warranty out of it anyway. But Jordan, have you replaced any of these 2 liters due to sand? I can't imagine yet.
Well, I mean, I have replaced them. It could have been the failure. We're not too sure. I just know that when they grenaded, I just put an engine in them. I really don't question what happened, went wrong. That's more on their end to disassemble and find point of failure. So it very well could have been a couple that I replaced due to overheating from casting sand.
So Michael, I don't know if who you're asking. Obviously, so mine is Jeeps on the Run. Why don't you guys just go through and give everyone your YouTube channels so everyone on here. Least you could do is give us a subscribe, but however a little bit helps, right? So for me, it's Jeeps on the Run.
Yep, I'm Mopar Tech Jordan.
I'm the Mopar junkie.
Chris? Are you on mute? We can't hear you. Chris is 4xe fans. No, I think, what is it? I screw that up every time. Yeah, Jeep 4xe fans. It's in the corner, right? We lost you. What happened to your audio? All right, let's see. Serious about the next question. Do I need to work on being able to detach myself from my 4xe? Is it safe to keep falling in love with more and more? The vet in the picture, total lemon. Again, the percentage rate of failure on these is small. I love mine. I don't plan on jumping ship right now, but you guys can. I mean, Jordan, you can comment on it, but we always say no vehicle is immune. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm driving that Charger Daytona right now, and then if anybody knows anything about that car, it's hot garbage. But I absolutely love the car. If that tells you anything, so I mean, I drive the hell out of it. I thoroughly enjoy it, and they are working the kinks out. It's taking them a little while to chip at it, but I think the same thing can be said for the 4xe. I live in Virginia Beach, so we have quite a bit of customers who have 4xes, and they don't seem dissuaded by this at all.
Yeah, I see it all on the channel. I see this is my first, it's my last, and I see I don't want to get rid of it and everything in between, you know. So again, I don't know. Just be mindful. I don't know. Like I said, nothing's perfect, you know.
Yeah, at least they didn't put the Hurricane 6 in that thing. Can you imagine? Can you imagine that on top of this?
Yeah. George, thanks for the comment. Maybe we should do these some more. I think these are good. I had actually a whole syllabus of what we're going to talk about, and Chris and I talked about it before we logged on, and it's like, these things just kind of happen organically. Everyone brings such good questions, so I think it's almost more fun just going through the questions than it is actually having a format. But drop as well. Good night. Thank you. Maybe we look at these as a regular basis. Soma 24 Avalanche. So let's be real. I had a 2001, a 2003, and 2005 Tahoes and Suburbans. I'm a Jeep and Chevy guy. I will tell you that Tahoe of that body style of Jeep was at the GMT 800. I don't think there was a better vehicle. Those things were bulletproof. Like, they were just, you still see them on the road. The 5.3 motor. I mean, sure, they had their issues with like transfer cases and some small stuff, but man, that era Chevy to this day, I still think was some of the most robust vehicles on the road.
That's when then GM came back up.
Yeah, and then in 2007, that body style changed, and then it kind of plateaued, and then it changed, and it kind of, I don't know. That's when, again, and probably when they started adding all the technology. But that 2001 to 2006, that era of General Motors, man, I would buy one of those things with 300,000 miles on it right now and not think twice about it. So, already subscribed. You guys are right. You guys got that coming. I appreciate that. Every little subscription helps. I wouldn't even know that the recall if it weren't for you guys. Charged the hell out of it with the Power Cord 2. I'm in Plainfield, Illinois. So. Well, we're glad to bring you the information you need. One thing I do like now is coasting. I turn off max regen braking. I'm loving the coasting. The one thing we should mention is the max regen braking really is no different than actually using your pedal. It's just, there's people saying they're getting caught up with, should I turn off max regen braking? And the answer is it doesn't make a difference because it's the same as your pedal, the first portion of your pedal anyway. So, but no less, it's definitely a different drive with it off. See, I brought this up and Chris, you brought this up on a video too, right? The software works if you're in the car and you're there and you're the eyes monitoring it. But like you said, you're parked on vacation and this thing's at home and it melts down. The software doesn't help, I agree with that. That doesn't fix that problem, right? software only helps if you're the one in danger sitting in the car.
No
you know?
update. No update should depend on the human being to resolve
Right.
the situation. Yeah.
Right. So agreed. I agree. Can't wait for the next one of these. I'll pop some popcorn.
Hey, it's a good idea.
It's a good idea. Great job. Please do this again next month. We should do this again. And again, and then they don't have to be. We're going on 3 hours. This is insane. Yeah, the Silverado truck of that generation. They just were. They were awesome. I did have a 2010 Silverado Duramax, and that was a great truck too. Just the fender is all rusted out. Max Regen makes me nauseous. So I can answer this. I can't be a passenger on anything. Forget it. And if you get into a car with someone so Max Regen on the Jeeps is pretty soft in comparison to like anything else with one pedal driving. One pedal driving, like Max Regen is not a true one pedal drive. But if you get in the car as a passenger, as someone that doesn't do well as a passenger with someone who doesn't know how to one pedal drive, I need a barf bag. And I am not kidding.
Yeah.
I had to get. When I had that Silverado EV as a demo, I took it for someone to let him drive it, and I'm like, you got to let me out. I'm about to make a mess in this thing. Like,
And I think what she's seeing, if the speed controller or the ramp rate, something in the 4xe, it remaps the accelerator pedal a little bit, but it also what's it called, the curve, the acceleration curve is a little bit weird, right? Like if you stop and then just go, that speed controller is kind of like, there's something in there that I don't think they've done right. It'll give you the herky-jerks.
And you probably remember this, Chris, too. And I know you had it when these things were first new. The one pedal it was really like crude.
Yes.
Right? And then I forget through one of these recall software updates, it was the same recall software update where we got the locking mode button.
Yes.
That one pedal driving changed dramatically better. But when these things first came out, that one pedal drive was horrible.
I think they changed the downshift points.
Yeah.
To soften that.
And they softened that. Everything was softer. It was so much better.
Yeah.
It was way better. Yeah. So. Here, exactly. Max. There it is. I think mine was even before the defrost recall, but no less. It was one of those recalls. Well, it was probably the B9A because the defrost and the B9A recall had the same software in it.
Defrost.
Yeah, exactly. There was no defrost problem.
I still say this is technically the fourth recall.
I agree.
Not the third on this because all that software was on that defrost recall.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, I really think that Jeep should capitalize on this. I'm sure you've seen the honor badges for the recalls. You've seen, yeah.
I've seen Chris's Jeep.
Yeah, I truly believe that every time we do a recall, we should put one of these badges on the back of the thing. I think that would be awesome.
Chris is ahead of you. He's already done it.
I've got my 68C ordered. It's in the mail.
Yeah, I don't think you should have to buy them. I think we should slap them on the back as you drive. As you're leaving the dealership.
I'm trying to find my picture of mine.
Yeah, at least have some fun with it.
That's how you. We talked about.
Yeah.
Those are my badge of horror badges, not badge of honors. You can get those at Loot. What are they? Loot Creations or Loot Customs? I can't remember when they are, but yeah. Loot. When I emailed with Loot about these, she was like totally on board. She was like coming up with great ideas, like better than what I was sending her. And so,
yeah. Forget the ducks. Let's do those. I think Jeep should definitely jump on that.
And then they could base the resale value if you've got all your badges.
Oh yeah, I mean, plus it's it's good for the public. You can you pass one of these things in the street and you're like, okay, this guy took care of all his recalls. It's safe to park beside it.
So Eric, I was just gonna say this, and you beat me to it, Eric. The bag allows you to park back in the garage again. Yeah. Or maybe at that parking garage, you gotta show your badge before you can come in the parking garage. Listen, you gotta make it fun or forget it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's funny. Well, that's all for questions. I mean, we're pushing damn near 3 hours.
Wow.
Maybe leave a comment. Do us a favor. There's still almost 100 people watching. go ahead, give us a subscribe, all 4 of us. We certainly put a lot of time and effort into the content, and certainly all bring a little something different to the table. So, Robert, thanks for joining. Jordan, thanks for joining. You guys made it certainly a little more interesting than Chris and I babbling at each other again for 3 hours. So
absolutely. Well, I sent you a Facebook message, Mike, because like I said, stay tuned, because I'm gonna, just like I did with the Charger Daytona, I'm gonna film each one of these recalls on the 4xe, so that way customers know exactly what we do at the dealership. They'll kind of have a video reference of what's going on behind the scenes.
where are you out of, Jordan?
I'm in Virginia Beach.
No, you did say that. Yeah. Okay. Nice job. Gotta subscribe. Appreciate it. Every little bit helps. So I personally I'll have some nice footage from the Recon this week. I'm excited to check out. I think the new Grand Cherokee will be there, which that's pretty minor. I think I don't know if the new Wagoneer will be there, but I'm excited to at least see what's out there. Robert, have you
that's right. You haven't seen them yet, have you?
I haven't seen it in person. No. Have you seen the Recon in person?
Well, I shoot spy photography all the time, so yeah, I've seen it quite a few times.
Well, you live out that way too. You're lucky.
Yeah, I live like 4 miles from Auburn Hills, so
yeah, he gets it.
That's why he gets all those. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, I've obviously got all the embargoed information, but sure, I mean, it looks awesome. I'm just excited to see it in person. And I hope they work the bugs out of that. That Stella large platform isn't its own issue free either.
Well, I think we're getting close. I mean, I have some pretty good ties with engineers, and so I think one of our last and biggest updates is supposed to be coming hopefully by the end of the month. And that's going to resolve the majority of powertrain issues on the Wagoneer S and the Charger Daytona, supposedly.
I just love all the wrench that looks like a lobster, right?
Yeah.
I love the fact that people have just owned it, right? You see like lobster beanie babies. Somebody won as far, I think it was Maryland or Maine, whatever, and their license plate says lobster. I mean, like, people have literally just owned this thing, and again, you can't laugh about it, whatever, but this is the stuff that we shouldn't have to own,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these cars are expensive, and I say that all the time in my videos that, our customers, that you spend a lot of money on these vehicles, you deserve a working vehicle, and the least we can do is be transparent with you about what's going on. And that's something I wish that Stellantis would kind of do more, is be more transparent. If they, if they're going to go this route, just be straight up with their customers.
And that's all we're asking, It looks like we gotta make a trip. We're gonna all come bombard you for the I don't know what your full name is, ML, but we're gonna come all bombard you for the next video. We'll do the Rubicon Trail.
Yeah. Goals.
Yeah.
Hashtag goals.
We'll have to make a road trip to the Chicago Auto Show in February, or was it? Yeah, February. Right?
Yeah, February. Are you coming for that one?
I might.
You should. It's a good one. The media days are really good. I go for both the media days, and then I go for, if you guys have never been, the black tie event for my wife and I. It's like we have fun. It's a date night for us, but the black tie event is a ton of fun, but the media days are great. Chris, I was mentioning to you, yeah, you guys should make the trip out. It'd be a good time. You bump into all the big YouTube guys, and Ratty's Rides is always out there, and I just lost his name, the garage guy we were talking about earlier, Chris.
Corey.
Yeah, Corey. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good show. They do a nice job with it, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, the last time I was out there was 2020, I think, for the Ram chassis cab launch.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get to see if they get a press release at the Chicago Auto Show. I don't know what they would reveal or what they would give us. Last year they gave us a press release for the Wagoneer S at the Chicago Auto Show. So I don't know. Depends. Maybe it would be something for the Grand Wagoneer. I don't know.
They could take the stage and do a new battery reveal. And then go fireworks. Well, maybe
he's got the fireworks. Yeah. All right. He says, no problem. He's standing by. We're making our trip to Rubicon.
Yep.
Robert, did you go out to SEMA this year?
No. I've never, you know what? I've never been to SEMA.
No.
The problem is I have 2 teenage kids, and it always happens, like right when they're involved in everything.
Believe me, I get it. That's why
it's hard to get out there.
3 years since I've been, but same sort of thing. It's timing is always bad, but I will tell you that's a great show. I used to own my own lighting business. I did aftermarket lighting, and so I made a bunch of contacts and vendors and whatnot out there. But then the last couple of times I went out, it was just more for honestly a little bit of fun, and then just trying to content and stuff like that. But bump into a lot of people. It's a great show. But my gosh, you could walk that place for forever. Oh, we lost Chris. And not see the same thing twice. It's crazy. We lost.
I'm hoping they're going to have some good stuff in Detroit. Detroit's going to be in January. You have to come onto that. That'd be cool.
What is in January?
What's that?
Hang on, Chris. Are you? You got your put your earbud in. I think you're reverberating. What did you say was in January? Robert, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, what did you say was January?
Detroit Auto Show.
Oh, okay.
It's not as big as what it used to be, but we're hoping there's going to be some big, a big announcement with the new Pacifica and maybe something else. So,
yeah, Chrysler needs to do something. That's for sure.
They got a lot of stuff coming about, but yeah, I just haven't had a chance to go to like SEMA and that. I've been all over the place this year. I've been to the Chrysler Carlisle Nationals. I've been all over the place. So the problem is just scheduling. That's the big thing. It'd be different if I didn't have the kids and dealing with all their stuff and that, but
I get it. Life is busy. That's for sure.
That's right, man.
Yeah, I totally get it.
But good seeing you guys, Chris.
Yeah.
Good seeing you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you
nice
all.
talking to you guys.
Thanks for all of you guys watching.
We didn't get to see Jordan.
Maybe we'll put something. We'll put something together. Maybe we'll do this monthly or something that we'll try and make so it doesn't have to be 3 hours of nonsense.
Yeah, and like I said, I can provide as much technical information that I have access to. Between the TSB recalls and things like that, I can get screenshots.
Jordan, you sent me a message, right? So I can connect with you offline.
Yep, so I sent you one on Facebook.
Perfect. I'll watch for it. I'll give you a subscribe too. I got your channel pulled up here.
Cool, awesome, thank you.
All right, guys. Thanks
See
again.
you guys later.
We'll be in touch, and we'll let you know. I think of the Recon. I'll send you guys some pictures.
Cool. Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, me too.
That'd be nice.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
Have fun.
Later.
See you guys.